Welcome everyone to Saturday Evening Chats. This is episode 32. And sorry about having the rescheduling so many options, but I was hosting the 2A rally also. So that just ended, and it was pretty good. If anyone wants to jump in and be part of the panel, throw up your hand and I'll give you a link. So, uh, not sure if anyone else was watching. I know Gun Loving Grandpa was out there watching it. Um, there were some pretty good points that were done by a few of the speakers, in my opinion, but a lot of them seemed not so much wanting to promote the future. What are we going to do to keep fighting to protect the rights that we have now and to get our rights back that we have lost? So I would have loved to have seen more of the let's beat the war drum and discuss, how to go about getting our rights back. So, not sure what anyone else's thoughts are on it. You can sound off. Let me know if I'm wrong. And let's go and see who was the first one in the chat. Looks like Kingpin was the first one here, followed by Mr. George Washington, Gun Loving Grandpa, PCC Kid, Mystic Guns, M. Gabriel, and so far that is everyone. Hopefully, some of the people that were over there on the 2A rally stream will make it over here. Uh, I think we had a pretty good conversation going over there. So, I see Mr. New York Outcast is here. Welcome. He has a link if he wants to jump in. Okay. I threw the link out there in the crowd if you want to jump in and join the panel. I'm I'm not sure where everybody else is, but we shall put up with this for a little bit longer. And if you were watching, I know Maj Toure, some people don't like him for whatever reason, but he was challenging the people in the 2A community to actually, start sticking up and saying, take the damn masks off. Let's get to getting back to the norm and not to this new normal. So, welcome, Mad Sexy, Mr. 223 DMR. Alan didn't I don't know, he didn't resonate so well with me. I mean, he had a good message, but I don't know that Argo J. I mean, wow, he he was pretty powerful. Uh, then you know, what's that? Pink Pistol, Aaron. You know, yeah, he had some good comments out there also. So yeah, I have thrown. I have thrown the link out in the crowd, so if anybody wants to jump on, you are more than welcome to. Um, I see Rob says he's about to eat. His woman probably cooked him a nice meal. So, Mr. Kingpin, why don't you jump on and give us some of your thoughts? And again, congratulations on 1,000 channel friends, subscribers, however you want to refer to them. I mean, it's a pretty good milestone. Well, Defense Dad, there's a link out in the crowd if you want to join the panel and talk while you're driving down the road instead of trying to type while you're driving down the road. So, I haven't. I know in California, the Judge Benitez is getting ready to do his ruling. I think he ordered that the AWB is going to go in front of a jury trial in January. So, you know, that's kind of cool. But then again, we don't get that ruling right away. And then the California government can't automatically try to get a stay. So, trying to see. Yes, you're not supposed to have your phone in your hand. You can have like I have a device that clips onto my air vents, and I can mount my phone in there so it holds my phone. And that's how I did my video where I was driving around showing the showing the smoke in the fires. Yes, I do understand that in some of those devices like that, you're stuck in landscape and not in portrait. So we have Mr. Defense Dad joining us. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much. Did you hear any part of the 2A rally?
No, I had to work from 11 to 7 today, so I just got my car.
Mr. Poor Conservative, is your ears working? Your microphone working?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Wow, we got this working.
Oh, wow.
Wow. It's only a couple weeks late.
Yeah, exactly.
So, thank you for making the show. I know you tried really hard when we were doing the constitutional chat, but the technology did not want to agree with us.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it was your technology or my technology. I'm not the most technically apt when it comes to this live streaming stuff.
Yeah, I am not a big tech guy, so I try to use whatever's the easiest and simplest, and just so that hopefully we can run a smooth show. But it seems like we have bugs we got to work out on everything. So
Yeah, that's the way it normally works.
yeah. Well, Defense Dad, the whole entire 2A rally was streamed on my channel. If you want to, you can watch that. But in there's actually a link to the 2A YouTube page where they're going to be breaking down and just posting each and every speaker, so that you can go through and, hey, maybe I don't like Joe Bob, but I like Joe Bob's cousin. So you can pick and choose who you want to listen to.
Yeah, that's what they were saying when they're talking about it on Sandhill show the other night. So I'll probably go back to do that. So, they're just still going tomorrow, right? Or is it done today?
The whole rally is over. It just finished right before I came live here. But I know that probably in the next few days they'll break down each and every speaker and put it into their own. So each speaker has their own little, video, so that you can then, if you want to share like Maj Toure, or you want to share IV88, you can share just their part without having to share the whole 4-hour, live stream.
Yeah, I plan on going back and watching some of it. I'm over the next week or so. I'm at a shooting event all day tomorrow.
So, Cav,
we get to shoot the cold all day.
That sounds like fun. Cav Trooper says that Joe Bob was cool. So, no, there's no speaker that was called Joe Bob. I just made that name up. But so, yeah, I mean, I think when you watch it, there's gonna be bits and pieces you'll go, yeah, I really agree with this. But then, depending upon how your stance is on the 2A, I would have rather, like I was saying earlier, I would have rather have heard more of the war drums being beat, like what Argo was saying, like Maj Toure was talking about.
Gotcha.
So thank you, Kingpin. He threw out the 2A rally channel in the link over in the side chat. So if anybody wants to go and sub to that, they can be able to watch any part of it or the whole part of it, however they want to do it. I want to find out how many people actually, if they combine all the streams that were going on, how many were like in attendance. But I mean, to track all that down, because not only do they have their like 5 streams that they were doing, but then you had people like me that were doing like watch parties, and I was simulcasting theirs. So then they'd have to go and track down each and every single one of those to count up all the amount of people that were actually, like watching.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty big undertaking. It's kind of cool to find out, though.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably guess. Well, you think about how small my channel is, and I was averaging like 16 people the entire almost 4 hours.
Okay.
So if you're talking, some of the larger channels that were hosting it, they were probably pulling 200-300 people the whole entire time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be nice to find out,
How's my road noise? Is it too bad?
I don't hear. I mean,
Okay.
I just barely heard your blinker, but
Okay.
yeah. Rob says that there was only about 30 people on YouTube that he could find on just 2 channels. So
Gotcha.
that doesn't sound like very many. Ooh. You would have thought that there would have been a little more.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe since it's virtual, people are planning on listening to it throughout the week when they're doing other stuff.
Yeah, maybe. Or people were like, there's other people that were just like, hey, if it's not in person, I just don't want to have any part of it.
Yeah, like I'm off Monday and Tuesday, and I'll probably be streaming quite a bit of it just in the background while I'm doing other stuff. I actually have a 3-day weekend, I just realized.
Oh, don't rub it in.
I'm just getting ready to finish up my 3-day weekend. But I have 3-day weekends every weekend.
I'm not saying a word.
But okay, so I may have a 3-day weekend from my job, but then if you figure, like on Saturday, I'm probably doing a on average 4-hour chat. So that's pretty much a second job right there.
Yeah, but on Saturdays you're keeping all the riffraff off the street, so.
Oh well, yeah. That is pretty true. So I don't know. I was thinking about like rallies and stuff. In the situation that we're in, the pandemic, scandemic, however you want to call it. I mean, I understand that it can be bad for people with underlying health issues and the elderly, but so is the common flu. So everything.
Well, I have a question. Does anybody find it bizarre, strange that this year we've only had 62 cases of the flu when this time last year we had over 12,000? I mean, does anybody find that bizarre?
Well, anything that's being reported as COVID, it doesn't matter if you stub your toe, it's because you had COVID that you stubbed your toe.
Yeah, because every one of these hospitals and clinics want that $13,000 per report. So,
you could walk in there, with a gunshot wound, and they're going to say that it was a COVID bullet.
I need to make a few of those.
So yeah.
The whole COVID thing. I mean, I am not the healthiest person on the planet. I'm not in the best shape in the world. And I have, many underlying conditions, but I went to Lansing a couple of times here in Michigan for the rallies up there. And guess what? I didn't get it. So, I kind of wonder, how much is actually truth and how much isn't, because they sit there and talk about Trump's Rose Garden event was a super spreader, because his family and his the people in his entourage, mostly came down with it. But where did they get it from? Do they think that they all got it from the Rose Garden event, but none of the reporters did? I mean, how exactly does that happen? If it's a quote super spreader. I mean, these people, tens of thousands of people at his rallies every week, yet we don't have these, 10,000 new cases a week after his rallies, but everything's a super spreader with him. And, I mean, Whitmer here in Michigan, was warning, that we were going to have, a huge outbreak after the first rally we had up in Lansing. And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen after the second one, the third one, the fourth one. It didn't happen after the recent one a couple of weeks ago. So I think the COVID thing, while I know it's, the disease is real, the virus is real. But I think there's more propaganda to it than there is reality.
Yep. I know, like Kingpin says, 2 days later, the Lakers rally wasn't a super spreader. And then Mad Sexy says, I believe 60 to 70% is fake hype by the media.
Yeah. I mean, a good portion of it has to be hype. So you look at the MLK rally in DC a couple of months back. They had like between 10 and 20,000 people there. The big protests they had in LA, the big protests they've had in New York. But they haven't had huge spikes there. Even with having 100,000 people in the street. I mean, come on, give me a break. Hold it. I say, come on. Now I'm starting to sound like Biden. God, don't do that.
So back in February, March, when this was all starting to kind of come out and everything, I got into some big arguments with people over on Facebook about how this was a test run to socialism. That this was, how far can we push the American people before the American people will finally push back? What's it going to take to make the American people grow balls and tell us that we're wrong? And so far, they haven't found that point.
See, and I think there's a bit of truth to that too. I was saying something very similar, that that there's more behind this agenda with the COVID thing, than just a quote pandemic. And I don't know, if there's something, if it's a political point, or if it goes along with the soft coup they tried on Trump for 3.5 years or what. But I think there's more behind it, especially with China, than than what we've ever been told. But I don't think we're ever going to know either, because the media, isn't going to tell us anything. And I mean, even Fox News, which, used to be, at least partially believable, has gone off the left-wing band or onto the left-wing bandwagon too. So, it's just, we've got the, little echo chamber news outlets, and then we've got the mainstream media. And, the echo chambers, they're just like, most of the channels on YouTube. They just want to, hear their opinion and nothing else. And then you got mainstream media, which is the same way, but on the other side. So,
yeah, and then a lot of them, if you don't either have their exact opinion or, at least pretend that you have the exact opinion, decide to like blacklist you per se.
oh yeah, it's it's like a lot of the channels that have live chats on on YouTube here. There are many of them. They love to sit there and preach. I'm open to every opinion. I want to hear what you have to say. And then as soon as you verbalize anything, that doesn't fall straight in line with what they're saying, they're immediately on you telling you why you're wrong. So you can't have an opinion, and that's the way most of the media, be it the echo chamber media or be it the mainstream media, is too. You're either in lockstep or you're an outcast.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of sad that you can't get really good conversations going without having arguments. It doesn't matter if it's in the 2A community, if it is, over religion, politics. It doesn't really matter what you're talking about. You're going to end up in an argument.
Well, that's like what I said earlier, and I qualified it with I didn't want to offend anybody, but when people sit there and say we've got to be open and accepting and defend this or defend that, one social justice measure or another, there are some of them out there, I can't bring myself to jump into the boot line with them and defend them when those same people who want you to defend them are the ones who have attacked me for my religion. And I don't go around spewing my religion to everybody. And in fact, I don't share it with anybody. But by God, if they come to my church or to an event I'm at and attack me, you can guarantee I'm not going to sit there and defend them. And I don't believe anybody out there should be attacked for anything, be it their personal persuasion or their religion, their belief system. We're in the United States. We have the right to believe and say what we want, whether it's offensive to somebody or not, and nobody should be attacked for it. But that's where our society has gone now. You're attacked for everything that's not in lockstep with either the SJW agenda or the politically correct agenda. And I'm too old to sit there and get on that bandwagon. I think that's a bunch of garbage myself. I have my own opinions, and yep. I'm in the United States. I'm a citizen here. I'm allowed to do that because of the Constitution. It allows me to have my opinions. I don't force them on anybody else. If somebody asks me, they want to hear it, I'll tell them. But, I'm not freely volunteering it or pushing it on anybody.
Yeah, you talk about, like, if you go back when parenting was parenting, mid-90s, when they decided to take away most of your parental rights, and if you didn't want to follow their new parental guidelines that were being handed down, then you risk either having your kid taken from you or being in jail or both. And that's the fall of our society so far.
That's when our society started going completely insane. You know, when punishment, you could not punish a child, you could not discipline a child. You know, I can't even remember the doctor's name anymore. I used to quote this guy all the time. You know, he would sit there. You've got to let your child have their own experience, find their own joy, their own place, things that make them feel good. No, sometimes you have to whoop them on the butt and say, no, that's wrong.
I remember growing up, and I'm not that old. I will be 40 in December.
Well, I got you by a decade and a half, so.
I remember when I would be over at a friend's house, and if I did something wrong there, more likely than not, my friend's parents had the right to beat my ass, send me home, and by the time I got home, they had already been on the phone with my parents, and I knew I was going to get an ass whooping when I got home.
Oh yeah. You weren't only getting it where you did something stupid, but you get from your parents when you got home for doing something stupid. So, you know, that's. I mean, I had, you know, a couple of paddles broken over my butt when I was a kid. You know, and I deserved it. You know, I did some stupid stuff. So,
I had plenty of wooden spoons, leather belt.
Yep.
I mean, I had wooden spoons broke over my ass. And when they would break, you'd start laughing, even though it wasn't that it like didn't hurt. You just laughed because you just cost your parents like $2 or $3 for a new wooden spoon. And then they would
mom,
go grab another. Go ahead.
I have a great story. A friend of mine, Mike and myself, we were out cruising, out hanging out with the guys, and came home really late one night, and
early in the morning.
you know, and I was you know, a kid, and still in school. I wasn't out on my own, and you know, my mother was sitting there waiting for me when I got home, and she used to have this Jockey Whip shoe horn, and she started trying to whip me. You know, I'm like 16 years old. She's whipping me with this thing, and she doesn't realize that the shoehorn end of this thing was spring loaded. And I'm sitting there laughing at her. She's just getting more and more pissed. And she can't understand why. It took until the next day before she cooled down enough I could actually explain to her that it was spring loaded and it wasn't hurting. I actually had to show her. Oh, she got pissed all over again.
So we were down visiting my grandparents. It was the first time I met my grandparents on my dad's side. And I had done something stupid, and my grandma had a double-handled cutting board. And she proceeded to spank me with that. Well, it broke across my ass. I started laughing. So now I've got a Southern woman down in Louisiana who now has 2 weapons.
Jesus.
Now she has a cutting board that was a double-handled into 2 single-handles. So she could spank my ass with both hands.
That's kind of funny.
That was when I learned that you don't laugh just because something happens.
Yeah. In my profession, I have a whole wood shop full of exotic woods. I can go out and pick my own beating stick whenever I want. I can even cut it down and shape it to my hand.
Yeah, or the favorite one was, okay, go pick your own switch. So my brother, myself, and 2 of my cousins got in trouble.
Yeah.
So my grandma said, go pick your own switch. My brother and my 2 cousins went and grabbed like willow branches, you know, those little thin.
Yep.
Well, not me. The smart ass I am. I went and grabbed the largest branch I could find, and I drugged that thing back. Thinking, yeah, go ahead, Grandma, you pick this up and you try. I was thinking ahead. This isn't going to work. Oh, no, I was just the last one in the line because I was a smartass who then got to feel what every one of those willow branches felt like.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not very lucky in that regard. Our backyard, we had a maple, an oak, and an elm, and in the front yard we had 2 maples. So I was kind of screwed in that regard.
Yep.
They were all hardwoods. So
yeah, but the thing is when you get those little like willow branches that it don't matter what you do, those things don't break. They're just like elastic. They just keep, they hurt. I'm telling you.
used to make fishing poles out of those.
Yep. So I mean, I'm not saying that kind of all those things need to come back, because some of that was borderline abuse. Sometimes it got out of hand. But a lot of the kids nowadays, if they got just a couple swats, they would be going, you know what? Something needs to change.
Yeah, that's I never really experienced the end at which I would call anything abuse, because it wasn't like being beat. I mean, you got a couple of cracks on the ass and you got the point. I mean, it wasn't like you see some of these parents that will sit there, and I mean they will literally have they'll have a melee on their child, beating them so much. That's abuse. I mean, that's just flat out disgusting. But you give a kid a couple of cracks on the butt, and they get the point usually. And if they don't, they'll come back and they'll get that again, and eventually they'll learn. And you look at today. I mean, I was watching this thing on this guy who used to be Boomer Esiason's partner in New York, and he ended up going to prison for a little over a year because he committed fraud to the tune of $30 million. And I knew as soon as I started watching this, I'm like, okay, somewhere this guy is going to say, he was molested. And, that's going to be the basis for his excuse of why he became, a gambling addict. The only problem is that he had stated that when he was 11 years old, he started gambling blackjack on his home video game, and he won his best friend's bike from him, to the point that his parents, came to, an argument over why the other guy's kid's bike was in his backyard. And, it's like, okay, you can say, you were molested and this is what caused that. But no, it didn't, because you were already gambling, before this supposedly happened at your summer camp. And it comes down to being an entitled child. He was a kid who grew up rich, was given everything he wanted, and never had to account for anything. So he just grew it and grew it and grew it, through his ego, and didn't feel he had to, worry about anything as long as things fed his addiction. Well, when he got caught, of course, what's his explanation in court? Well, he was molested as a child. No, dude, that doesn't add up. And that's the way entitled kids are. There's always an excuse for what they do, rather than, oh, well, I knew it was wrong, but I did it anyhow. And that's the problem we have with kids today and young people. I mean, look at the rioting. They know what they're doing is wrong, but they do it anyhow because they don't have to account for anything. And that's where the lack of discipline, that came to being in the late 80s and early 90s, has, driven our society to where it is now. Is we don't have discipline in our society. Kids haven't been educated. They don't know anything about the world. They've never had to account for anything. They're entitled. They think the world owes them a living. And voila, this is where we're at. Now they think socialism is grand. Why? Because they were never disciplined as children. They were never taught. Okay, rant over.
I was reading some of the comments out in the crowd, like Midnight Range, who says, "Who is the NFL guy that beat his kid? Peterson?" ?
Yeah, Adrian Peterson, because he hit his kid 4 times with a belt and left 2 bruises on his legs.
This one was, he says, beat his kid with a stick, left bruises all over. Even his testicles had bruises. And the NFL
that wasn't Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson didn't beat it. I don't know. He may have beat his kid with a stick, but his kid actually only had 2 bruises. And they, the NFLPA blew it up to be a whole lot more than that and got him suspended for a year. So.
Hello, everybody.
Yep. Well, we are welcome, Mr. New York Outcast. What's going on?
Mr. Rob D, what's up?
How you doing? I just heard a little bit. I lost some when I switched over to listening and participating, but I don't know. So I'm not sure where you're at, but I think beating a kid with a stick would fall along abuse lines, like as far as like beating a kid with a stick. I mean?
Yeah.
I think what our parents did or some parents did back in the day would qualify as abuse. Was it something horrible? No, we all lived, and I think we learned a lesson through it in some cases. So, but some people, I think, do take things the wrong way. I think, like, I can justify, 100-pound mom using a spatula or something like that, but a grown-ass man shouldn't be beating on a kid with anything besides, maybe an open hand on the ass, in my opinion. So it shouldn't be a dominance of power. You know what I mean? You should have. Hopefully they respect you some bit, but I do agree with everything you just said prior.
I think you're right.
Lack of personal responsibility, a lack of values, basically puts us to where we are now.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a beating. It should be an attention getter. I mean, you don't need to beat a child. But that's like I was telling G23. A couple of cracks on the ass. That's an attention getter. You sit there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. That's beating. That's abuse.
I agree. There's definitely check your state laws on all this stuff. Most people think you can't, but even in New York State, I think in some cases it's your job. And if you do enforce your job, you don't have to do it anymore. So I don't know. If you get on kids young, it's not a big issue, but obviously, I think it's a value to discipline your kids because you're really not doing them any favors in the real world. The police don't care about your excuses. Your boss don't care about your excuses. Nowadays, more and more do. They get away with murder at work, but in general, your wife's not going to care about your excuses. The judge ain't going to care about your excuses. So, get your crap together.
So true. So I'm going to welcome some more people. We have Andrew Faulkner, Mr. 2 Live Moo, M. Gabriel, Midnight Range TM, C4 Defense, Warsaw Patriot, Cav Trooper, 19D, who has a link if he so wants to jump in, Keith Gregory. I've missed a lot of people. Rob D was out in the chat. Mr. Uplift Mofo Party Plan. Trying to catch up. Rich White. Think I've hit anyone. If I missed you, go ahead, comment and say that I missed you. Oh, Walter Davis, I do believe, was out in the crowd. Not sure if he's still there, but so Rob, I know you got to see some of it, the 2A rally. What was some of your opinions on that?
Oh, you don't want to ask that question. You want me to be honest? You want me to go there?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're
I think
adults.
it was a waste of damn time. I'm sorry. I don't want to piss on anybody's parade or whatever, but first off, it's on a weekend. Second off, it's online. Who's going to see it? Who's going to be interrupted? Who's going to say, who are those people? What are they doing? Who's speaking to a representative? I mean, what, 400 people signing something and sending it in, and that's a representation of our national rally? I personally think it's a joke. I think the community's been neutered. If there's, get off your ass and do a hardship and take a trip. But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree with some of that. Some points of it I can understand, but I don't know. It's like
Big
when they're
circle jerk, man. My opinion. You're speaking to the same people that already know it. That's why I wasn't bothered with it. So
what
there's no point in.
The one thing is, if they knew they were going to do it online, why not put out more like advertising? Why not try to push and get a lot more people that may not be the average 2A people? Why not try to reach out to some of those newer gun owners and stuff like that to try to, get them into it? Why not try to bring some of the gun stores into, talking about stuff?
I don't know. From what I've seen or think or whatever, from what I was led to believe by the information I've seen online, which could be anything, true to not true, whatever. But it seemed like Rob Pincus was applying for an application and he was maybe denied. I don't know. I didn't hear a straight answer from it. And then other people bring up COVID and he kind of ran with that. So not stating anything against him or this or that, but I don't know, maybe somebody else could have tried or worked on the worst. The hell with it. Just do it in a orderly manner. Don't block traffic. Keep moving. There's ways of doing this. I'm just thankful the Million Man March wasn't done online.
Yeah. I mean, I know when he was on Sandy.
That's the question I was asking, and I asked him that on his IG page about why the Martin Luther King rally, which was held 2 months earlier, was allowed to have like 20,000 people there, but the 2A rally couldn't get clearance from the DC police. And Rob Pincus's reply to me was, "You need to check your racism at the door." I'm like, what?
I think somebody else should have took over. I mean, the idea was it wasn't supposed to be behind a big public face anyway. To my knowledge, last year's rally was the rally of the people, supposedly. So to me, that made it more worth going. Genuine people that put their effort and skin in the game, to me, are more valuable than people that get paid to give a speech. Not stating anybody did or didn't. I don't know everybody's details, but to me, real people's where it's at.
I think the rally's a good idea, and I think there's a lot of good info out, but this virtual one just it seemed like and the next pre-recorded message is, and the next pre-recorded message is, and I mean, there's no spontaneity to it. There's no reaction to it. I mean, you get every time a new speaker would come up on it, you'd see CloverTac putting up their website or whatever, which was great for the information. But, I mean, if they had a way to have, like a virtual crowd going on, where people could, applaud and approve, rather than, the way they did it. Where there could be, actual people's participation, instead it turned into more of a college lecture. That's my opinion. And as much college as I've been through, the last thing I really wanted was another college lecture.
So my thought is, so you couldn't hold it in DC, and you were going to do parts of it, you're going to do it online. Why not get people and break it up into like time zones? You have your Eastern people that all, if they wanted to gather, they could all gather in a central location. Then you have your Mountain Time Zone, your, Central Time Zone, you have your Pacific Time Zone. And pick one area in those areas where people could travel to, and they could have live meetings there. Have those simulcasted to a website for the people that don't want to go. You would have your live audience. You would have, things like that. I understand that in certain states, if you travel to other certain states, you're required by your governor to, isolate for 14 days. So I kind of understand in certain parts of that, but at some point, we Americans, I don't care if you're 2A or what, we Americans need to stand up and say, enough is a fuck enough. I want my life back.
Or we could just burn a city down while we're doing it. That way it's completely legal and covered.
Exactly. You can't get COVID if you're rioting.
A few people might remember, probably not, because nobody really cares what I say anyhow. But I did suggest earlier this year that we, could have had a barbecue in Kingpin's backyard and,
I
had
think I
Midnight
remember
Range
that.
cook.
Yeah.
And, it got poo-pooed. Nobody wanted to do it, but, that could have been the answer to the whole rally thing. And Kingpin's close to DC, so it still would have been in the area.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm really tired of us absolutely being the only organization left in the United States that doesn't do just a little bit of civil disobedience to push our cause. I mean, churches are being civil disobedient. I mean, churches, some of the most law-abiding people on the planet, and we're terrified, like scared little pansies, to do anything that is not just perfectly in the line.
And by God, we've got the guns. So, I mean, seriously.
And my question is why do we keep picking, like, places that are anti-gun to go and hold our rallies? I mean, some of it, it's kind of but at that point, if we're going to pick someplace like that, then we can't open carry. We can't, unless we're willing to go to jail. Guess what? Let's pick some places where we can open carry. Let's show by force that we're there and we actually mean that we want our fucking rights back.
You put 200,000 people with rifles in the middle of Georgia somewhere in a field, there'll be news coverage of it. people will show up and film it. It will have impact. And you're right. Stop going to the lefty fortresses where nobody gives a crap about our opinion anyway, where nobody honestly cares, and having a show of, quote, force where you're terrified of your own shadow, and they're going to report it that you're a malicious mob of crazy people anyway.
Look what happened in Virginia. Look how many people they got in Virginia. And
They
when
red
they
flagged him in
were
their own state.
I spent $15,000 on Virginia, sending people to Virginia. And what I got out of it was 33,000 people showed up in Virginia out of 2.5 million people hiding in sanctuary counties. That is garbage. 33,000. He went right out and passed 6 laws, or pushed 6 laws through the next week, just to show how much he agreed with us that we did not care about our rights in Virginia.
Well, that's the problem, I think. A lot of people talk. I think that's why this online really went so well, because you don't have to do nothing but click on your screen. It's the hardship. It's the American spirit. People just, that's kind of the difference with a service member. You're doing something that's above you, or at least on some level. And a lot of people just don't have that. If it's going to screw up their work day or this or that, they're just not going to do it. Until the problem's at their door, and at that point it's too late.
Well, that's exactly right. Well, and Samuel Clemens said it best, and that is that in the beginning, the American patriot, or the patriot, is a hated man and despised. But once his cause begins to succeed, others will join, because then it costs nothing to be a patriot.
Mark Twain said that too.
Well, Samuel Clemens was his real name.
I know. That was the joke.
And I appreciate that joke.
So, like Andrew points out, a little civil disobedience can cost me my carry permit. And the thing is but if we get enough people going and, everything, they're going to have to change and realize that, we're done. We're tired of getting that boot to our throats.
Well, and I would argue the following point. Who can honestly tell me that we're gaining ground significantly with the behaviors we're demonstrating right now? Who can tell me that in the last 40 years, things have gotten significantly better for gun owners?
Oh, if you listen to a couple of chats from last week, they were claiming, we've had more victories than we've had defeats in the in the gun thing just in the past 10 years.
It's been 2 steps forward, 1 step back at best.
Best.
I was thinking 1 step forward and 3 steps back mostly, but that's just my opinion.
And you've got 2A defense lawyers triple
paid the
billing
whole
for the
way.
same lawsuits,
Yeah.
and all sorts of other just garbage going on. We have to take ownership of it.
Yeah, well, this whole design of things is set up in a manner that people are making money on both sides. That's another topic people don't want to touch sometimes, but if they solve the problem, a lot of people are out of a job.
Yep.
So I mean, when you really do the math on it, in a way, I think it's designed to just kick the can down the road. Everybody gets along, and make you a little more comfortable, you a little less. It's what we're willing to deal with. Obviously, you don't want to jump out and be a worthless martyr. That's just foolish. But at some point, there needs to be a line where people are going to say, this is important for my kids, for the people that can't do something about it.
Well, and
we
we
got to be men, not idiots, but
Yep.
they need to be men.
Well, when you ask that question of a patriot, and Gabriel has a great point there. So, Gabriel, I've stopped giving money to 2A organizations entirely. I can't get one to show me any evidence that they've accomplished anything significant. The Second Amendment Foundation has had some small victories, But overall, most of them haven't moved any type of a bar. And I've started to spend my money on local organizations. I've started to push local groups that, when things begin to come apart where we are, we'll have some level of camaraderie and leadership and joint unity. Um, and what I would encourage people to do is to look inside their own state and look at their local organizations and see, okay, so we've got companies leaving California in droves. Daily Wire just relocated to Tennessee. What's his name? Not Tesla, but the creator of the Tesla company, Elon Musk, is pulling Tesla out of California. People
Yep.
are beginning to head towards areas of the country and states within the nation that are definitively with their similar belief systems. Every time these two organizations, the left and the right, meet, there is a small skirmish. There is a small scale skirmish. And with people pulling themselves behind the line more and more, eventually somebody is going to draw lines. And when that happens, this is going to get ugly real quick. We have to start holding what we have and investing in like-minded people. We hold our own rally. One channel hosts it, send out links. Yeah. I mean, I love the idea of a rally, but it's just ultimately what has to happen is action. And action looks like, okay, I'm concerned in my state. I'm concerned that at some point I'm going to have to defend myself from lefty organizations. And so what I have not done is donated to an organization that is stationed in Washington, D.C. What I've done is donated to an organization that is stationed here in my hometown and invested in those people.
Well, I think one of the things we have to look at that a lot of people don't seem to want to talk about. They want to talk about the inclusion, the new gun owners, diversity, blah blah blah. But what do we do to actually get firearms owners together? A lot of people like to say the gun community. There's no community. Okay, everybody's got their own little clique, and each little clique, is just that. They have their own little group. They don't want anybody from the outside coming in. They only want their opinion. How do we herd cats? How do we get these people to come together? Not just for the quote Second Amendment, but how about for the whole Constitution? How about for every one of our rights as citizens of the United States? How do we get people to come together for that? And it really bugs me, these guys who hide behind, the 2A, to sit there and make money and push their, subscriber base, blah, 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 but they don't want to talk the Constitution. They don't want to talk about all of our rights, just the 2A. Let's just talk about guns. Guns is a great place, a great base to start from. But there's 26 other amendments, that we have to look at. There's, a number of articles in the Constitution that we have to read and understand, that the people today just don't get. And, everybody's got their own little agenda thing, but we need to get the people who own guns to come together. And it's befuddles me on how that's done.
So Gabriel just pointed out that he's wanting to discuss moving the Overton window, right? And he's got a great point there. So how does guns become mainstream? And we are, I like to liken us to churches that used to teach health principles, and then they lost the message when somehow when the world went healthy, they were not the people out there talking about it, right? So the Overton window looks like we just got several million new gun owners, and we're still not having conversations about how great gun ownership is, right? And the reality of it is, as a people, as a as a 2A community, as a first. I'm not a 2A lone guy. I'm a First Amendment and Second Amendment guy, right? Those are my two focal points, First and Second Amendment. The ability to speak about your rights is as critical as the right that you have, right? And so we have allowed ourselves as a conservative group to become silenced in the only avenues by which we can communicate. And I see varied levels of understanding of that. But for a moment, if you go on Facebook, if you go on Twitter in those places and really get into political organization with anybody, Facebook and them start neutering you. They start shutting your stuff down. And so we have to begin to think, how do we get mainstream? And so there's what, 3 truly conservative media outlets left in the United States? Maybe 3. And so why are we not all over that media outlet? So the Second Amendment Foundation, all these different groups, they should be speaking on those television programs every day. They should be talking on those programs every single day.
I don't believe any of the media's on our side, honestly. So I think people are played to look like they're on our side, and then they switch things off another way. But I think it's down to like 5 people or 4 people, and it used to be 7 that control it all. So I don't know. They're one of the big problems with the country. They're misguiding people with bad information.
See, I think Ghost makes a great point, about the, you can't hurt animals unless they're hungry.
Right.
The only problem is, and, I know I'm not older than everybody, but I know I'm older than a lot of people out there. The first time I fired a handgun was when I was 8 years old. That's 46 years ago. And I have watched our rights. I've been a political junkie since I was a child. When I met President Ford when I was 10 years old and handed out handbills with his son Jack, I became a political junkie. And I have watched in this country, okay, so say 44 years now, when it comes to gun rights, we keep giving up and giving up and giving up and giving up. And, after 44 years of watching it myself, I don't think there's a community of gun owners that are ever going to be hungry enough, to be brought together through hunger. We've got to find another way to get gun owners to understand, they are trying to take our guns away. And there's nothing that seems to be hitting home with enough of them to make a difference. That's the thing that bothers me.
Right. And again, like I said, and Gabriel's pointing out again the Overton window, what range of views are we honestly affecting, right? And so if we're saying that we're the way to correct this, right? The way to fix this is for there to be a large scale pro-gun view in the country. You might argue that the purchase of all these firearms has created a large-scale pro-gun view, but do we honestly see people connected to it, right? Do we honestly see people out there talking about it or speaking to how important it is to them, or even doing a single thing, a single thing that is advocating towards that? And so if we were to suddenly change just a small sector of the population, even the gun people, right? So let's say we have 100 million gun owners in the United States. If we were to get, say, 22 million of those people to advocate at some level, just say, hey, I think keeping the AR-15 is a good thing. 22 million people across the country advocating at that level, we would see a significant change in gun rights in the United States. We would see a significant positive movement towards it. But that's going to require us to be able to get our voice out at larger scale and not just talking to each other about it all the time.
Welcome, Ghost Tactical.
Hey, thanks. I'm enjoying this conversation. This is an interesting one.
So, let's hear your thoughts on what we can
My
kind of
thoughts are
do.
probably going. Yeah, my thoughts are going to piss some people off, and I apologize for that. But I want to acknowledge the elephant in the room, and what TPC and Rob and Nighthawker and you guys are talking about is true. We have to take it to a local level. We have to start there. And my point about feeding hungry animals is this: they're not hungry because the elephant in the room is this. Whether we want to admit it or not, I think we all in this room know this. But the elephant in the room is that I would say 90% of gunners, probably even more than that, don't care about 2A. Let's just be real. Okay, they wanted Second Amendment there so they could own their guns, but they are not involved. They don't keep up with. They don't have a clue about what is going on in politics and in the world. And the answer to me, and you have to start. And I think that it was Nighthawk said that he has stopped giving money to 2A organizations except for locally. And I think that's exactly where it has to start. I think you have to start. It's just like, we were talking something about the Libertarian Party or third party candidates. On the national stage, it's a wasted vote. But locally is where you can really get a third party. Same thing with 2A rights, is if you want to really start a herd can't be started by someone on the national level saying, guys, it's time, because they're not going to listen. But what if your mayor comes out and says, I'm going to ban guns within the city limits? You're probably going to listen to that. So you need to start at the local level, whether it's organizations or organizing something yourself. Talk about 2A rights locally at the state level, because honestly, let's be real. Yes, there are some bad things that could happen at the federal level, but most of the infringements are going to happen on our rights are going to happen in the local and state levels. So that's where the herds have to start gathering. You can't just call for a call of arms to at the national level. You had to start locally and state level. And then once you have 50 individual states gathering and talking about this, then it's a lot easier to gather that herd and feed them, because now you have, instead of a random number of people nationally trying to be herded, well, we've got 50 different shepherds, and 50 people can organize something very much easier than 300 million people can organize something. So I think that it's really important to understand that we talk about this stuff and we're passionate about this stuff, but the vast majority of our quote unquote gun community brothers and sisters don't care one bit about this conversation until it's too late. And unfortunately, they get hungry when it's too late.
Hear, hear.
Yeah, I think there's a portion of people that just don't want to stand out either. I think
absolutely
a lot of people play dumb and they just don't want to be the one or be seen as a crazy guy or whatever.
Well, just look at,
they're not going to come to that.
Yeah, line. Look at the people in the last 50 years. Exactly. Look back at the last 50 years of people that have stood up against oppression of any kind in this country. What typically happens to them?
Broke. They end up broke or dead.
Or in jail.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of how our system works. We talk about the First Amendment. We talk about freedom of speech. But the government doesn't have to be the one suppressing that. It's our own people. It's us as a whole, as a people in our country, that suppresses anyone that stands up for something. And it sounds bad, but as much as it burns my buttons to hear anti-gunners talk about stuff that they're uneducated about, I would never think about suppressing their voice. I just want to prove them wrong. But there are people that are literally out there trying to suppress our voices. At the national level, they can do that, but they can't at the local and the state level. I think that that's where we got to start.
Amen.
Well, I got a question. Is it really going to be beneficial to try to beat them at their own game when they pretty much control it, and when something happens, they don't change the rules?
Exactly.
And, because that's really what the local level is, and then they're just going to swap the game again, it seems. So, I think we should do it as people, as us, we the people, put up a stand.
So,
Not
but-
necessarily an arm stand, but if it
No, I hear what you're
turns
saying,
out
yeah.
that way, that turns out that way. But until we mass civil disobedience, we ain't taking this shit no more. Until we become an issue, they're just gonna keep stepping over us. So
let me tell you something that I've learned very quickly, Rob. Politically inactive people do two things. They violate laws that you and I know about without even knowing, because they know nothing about the laws. So those laws mean nothing to them at all. So if you knew how many times I see 922R violated and people have no concept that it even exists, it would make your head spin. Because you know what 922R is, right? I've seen pistol grip pistols and all sorts of other stuff. And these people are in clear violation of these arbitrary laws that have been set up. But to them, those laws don't exist because nobody said a word to them about it, neither through a violation nor because anybody that is in their life plays in their rules. We cannot play this game on the national level. There are way too many chiefs right now out there running around talking about which part of it is important. And we have to get small groups to attack it and to be as loud about a unified idea as our opponents are. And so organizations like Moms Demand Action and so forth harass politicians until they get done what they want to get done. Why on earth do we not have small groups around the country harassing politicians until we get done what we get done? Because, by the way to get things done in this country has nothing to do with sitting quietly and paying taxes or being respectful in group meetings. Because if you don't believe that, go to Colorado, go to Seattle, go to these other places where they've completely neutered their law enforcement agencies because people have lost their mind and harassed the politicians. These people don't respond to peaceful acts. We have to be like Moms Demand Action and constantly harass people at the local level. That's the only way we're ever going to make any progress, in my opinion.
So you bring up like Seattle and places like that, but what is the city that is like the forefront right now and who has been the forefront for the last 250 days, rough, maybe right around in there?
Portland.
They have kept the pressure on so horribly that they're getting everything they want.
And
so now
you can't. Go ahead. Sorry.
So now, if you live like in Portland and you're a 2A person or just a gun person, your two choices are the jackass you have and a Marxist Antifa person who is running for the mayor. That's what you have to look forward to as your ballot.
Not to make light of the Portland situation, but to give you kind of a really twisted idea about Portland, there's a place in Portland called the Edelweiss Deli. It's
God.
place that makes probably some of the best German sausages in the world. Because of what's going on with Antifa in Portland, they're shut down more than they're open, and we're talking on the verge of closing up for good. This place has been there for 50 years and is, I mean, before the Antifa stuff started, was literally one of the biggest profit per capita businesses in Portland. And now they're on the verge of shutting down because of all this crap with Antifa. That's what these riots are doing to long-standing businesses. And that's the bigger threat. When these people, if you have a historical knowledge of the Weimar Republic,
Oh yes.
When the Nazis went in, Hitler and his people, the brown shirts, started beating down people in the population centers, taking over the centers of financial districts in these big cities, which is exactly what stuff like Antifa is doing in the big cities.
Yep.
If they start taking over the financial cities or centers of these big cities, they have control of our country. And that's what they're doing, and what a lot of people are not focusing on is
Can I add
that. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
TPC. Real quick, I want to add one thing to what you're saying. Ladies and gentlemen, all of the cable companies that you do business with who are giving money to these organizations live in Seattle and Portland. That's where their headquarters are. Please continue, sir.
Oh no, I'm done. I made as much of my point as I can, and I think you just capped it off perfectly.
The headquarters for all of these companies that you're paying every week that are pouring money into Antifa and BLM are in these cities that they are sieging. Go Google it. Go look it
Makes
up.
me proud to say I've had Hobo TV for 15 years. My kids call it Hobo TV. But yeah, I wasn't paying for that crap.
When the first siege of Seattle started, AT&T, Dish Network, all of these places that had stations and headquarters in Seattle immediately started paying out. And there's a list of 180 different companies that are basically paying hostage and blood money into these organizations. Check out the bankroll numbers on the nonprofit organization that is BLM. And oh, by the way, how much money they're sending to the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I think it's a rigged system here, folks. It's never popular when I say it or people want to divert things, but everybody's got all this hope in Trump, and even if he does win, it doesn't fix the problem. We still got a real big issue. It's just maybe delays things a little bit. But I think we have problems. At a certain point, either you submit or you stand up. And I think, there may come the time that people need to stand up and, enforce our, how do you state it? Trying to be careful in all these words. But kind of clean house. Do what the Constitution states.
So the discomfort that we feel in that conversation is because we know what it costs us to have that conversation. We know that it costs us our easy job. It costs us our easy house. It potentially costs us our freedom. And our fear is that the men and women who come behind us are unwilling to make the same sacrifice in order to ensure the freedoms that each of us would be abandoning to take that action. And so again, in the beginning, the patriot is a hated man and despised for his actions. But when his cause succeeds, others will join, for it costs nothing. And so the question we have to each ask ourselves is, are we willing to take a step before it comes to that step, before it comes to the thing that none of us even want to pretend might happen in this country, that will change how we fight? And my question is, do we really think that online protests are going to Washington, D.C. are making an impact? Do we honestly feel that way? And do we think maybe we can imitate the people that are actually having an impact in our states, who are actually getting the rules changed against us? Maybe we imitate some of their processes and see if we have more impact that way. Any thoughts?
I think doing the same thing and expecting different results is insanity.
Yeah, the company I work for, luckily, is a very staunch 2A company, and we can open carry while we are at work. Our boss doesn't care. The owner says, carry. I don't care if you open carry. I don't care if you conceal carry. If you're going to conceal carry, you better have a license.
Well, I think going back into what Nighthawk was saying about going to Washington and having online protests and all that, I think that they are valuable, not for making change. Okay. I will say that going to Washington and having these online, they're not valuable in the sense where they're going to sit there and say, oh my gosh, this is what's going on. We've got to change our thought here in Congress. But what it does do is it allows us to organize, at least somewhat. It allows us to get better at every time we do organize. The next time will be better. The next time will be better until we keep doing it. And the more practice we get at organizing, the easier it becomes the next step. More importantly than just the organization, what it does is you have people gather that are like-minded, and you're letting them speak their minds, you let them give speeches or whatever it is. More importantly than anything else is if we do it the right way, and we haven't done it the right way yet. Today was a great 2A rally online. It was great, but we missed the whole point of having a 2A rally. The most important thing we need to do when we gather and organize like this is organized, honest thoughts and actions. Everyone should leave that rally with their marching orders. They should feel like I'm leaving here with something to do, not just to listen to people talk. If we're not sending people away from these organized events with marching orders saying collectively as a whole, we need to do this, then what's the point? All it is listening to people talk at that point.
I have people. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, thanks. I'll be quick. I was gonna say I kind of agree on in the sense of the in-person rallies because you can actually, in my opinion, learn a lot more from spending 15 minutes talking to somebody than you do online. And
Absolutely.
It could create further relationships. So that I'm willing to travel to. I prefer it's not on a weekend because then it's a waste of time in some cases, in my opinion. But that's me. But the online, I kind of disagree because you're all going by shadow names or whatever, this or that. And, talk is cheap. Action means something. Somebody actually making the time to go, that says a lot more than just clicking in a chat. That's all.
So I have a local organization down here that I run, and people are flooding into it, not because I am some phenomenal leader, but because there's actually action being taken, because there are actually palatable physical actions being taken, and people can see an impact. And so if that is the case, if ultimately what we're really wanting to see is change, and we are providing that change engine with our ideas, the only thing that is missing is a leader who's willing to stand up and say,
that's right.
Let's do it. Let's get together and do it. And I'm not a fabulous leader. I've been a manager for a long time, but ultimately that just amounts to my ability to not lose my mind when confronted with 80 tasks. And
yeah, but you're Mr. Happy on your videos.
Well, there's a reason for that. Nobody wants to hear what I'm like in these chats on my videos, okay?
you are the happiest video maker I have ever seen in my life.
And so, thank you. But ultimately, the goal is people have to stand up and carry that leadership torch. Gabriel, I'm in Tennessee. I sent money to Virginia because I did not want to see the heart of America fall. I quit making videos for a year to spend that same money on trying to do something for Virginia, and the people of Virginia, most of them did not care enough to make it happen. And so I'm mad at Virginia, but it's not all their fault. But ultimately, once somebody will take a leadership torch, people will follow. Just as we hear from Kingpin, people do not want to fall by themselves. They do not want to be standing alone. They want somebody to take that torch first and carry it in front of them, because then they will follow. And here is the terrifying thing. Guys, if we're not the people taking the torch, if we are not the people standing up, the people who have good heads on our shoulders, they're gonna follow nutbags. They're gonna follow crazy people when their rights disappear.
Just look at YouTube.
There you go.
I
And
would
so
think good leaders kind of get pushed to the top through experience and respect. Especially if it's anything threatening. In some cases, I think that's the best way it goes.
Yep.
People that want to be the leader, usually, and from my experiences in life, don't usually work out that well. I think that's the problem with our politicians and everything. Yeah. But it's people that would hesitate understand the weight that it brings, and sometimes, unfortunately, you just got to kick somebody in the ass.
Well, scared people will follow anything that sounds good eventually, though. We know that. Look at Nazi Germany. You know.
I was going to say, look at Germany in the 30s.
Right. And these people were mad because their economy was destroyed. These people were mad because they felt like they had no national pride anymore. And a crazy man led them to their doom, speaking of great things. And so you can't tell me that the cream will rise to the top and necessarily be the thing that is the driving force. We've seen right-wing and left-wing nut jobs leading massive numbers of people to basically the Pied Piper, fiddling themselves off the cliff. You know, so if we're not standing up and carrying the torch, if we don't have a good head on our shoulders, or we're not the people that are leading that charge, ultimately somebody else will, and God help us if it's one of those people.
I've tried to get a little thing going in my area, and all I got was what I swear to be is investigator calling. So one guy that was probably just a straight nut. I don't think he worked for anybody. Yeah. I think he was just a straight nut. So
I get law enforcement and FBI all the time, brother, and I invite them out to lunch, and we sit down and we talk. And I always tell them the same thing. Yeah.
When they realize you're not a nut, they don't come back.
That's exactly right. They're done. I had a guy the other day, actually, who expressed interest, came to me through one of the 4 websites that I have feelers out on. And he comes in, joins Kingpin. Please don't misconstrue with what I'm saying as an attack on who you are or what you do in any way. Anyway, so he came to me and he said, "Hey, I'm interested in joining your group. Tell me more about it." So I dumped the whole load, right? And well, I need this or I need that and the other. I'm sorry, buddy, we don't do that stuff here. We're an advocacy group. Oh, okay. Have a nice day.
So I see we are joined out in the crowd by Mr. Gizzard Gary. Welcome.
Do I call Nazis right wing? Kingpin, I'm not sure where the basis of this is. Nazis were actually the Socialist Party, which by definition would make them left wing.
There's a great quote on leadership. And don't ask me who said it because I have no idea. But it's something to the effect of like, great leaders don't set out to be a leader. They set out to make a difference. It's never about the role, always about the goal.
Yep.
And I think that is something that is missing because leaders, okay, put it this way. And I say this all the time. If you have to tell someone you're a leader, you're not.
Yeah.
Let's just be real about it.
Yep.
You know, if you have to continuously tell someone that you are something, then you're really not that. You're trying to be that.
Yep.
And that's a dangerous, dangerous role. Leaders are going to step up when no one else is willing to. That's the leader. That's the leader.
The question is, do they have somebody to inspire them to that point? And so I tell people, I am only doing what I am doing until somebody who can do it better comes along. Okay.
Absolutely.
I am only in my role until that moment happens. And so I am constantly uplifting the people around me. For a while here, I was dealing with 3 different cities in my state. And now I'm only dealing with 2 because I uplifted a fella and another fella is on his way up. And so we have to push people beyond their normal realm of experience and do
Or
that through
outside their
inspiration.
level of comfort, or
There you
outside
go.
their comfort
Right?
zone.
You got it. Push them into the learning zone, expand their comfort zone to encompass that new learning while not pushing them into panic. And that's the key. But you guys right here, this is a chat full of people that would be amazing at it.
I just want to thank G23 here real quick, because damn, this is the stuff I like. I get tired of this, what's the next best thing. I think this brings up more thought and can possibly touch people a little bit deeper than a lot of the BS we talk about sometimes. So this right here has probably been the best chat I've been on in quite a while. So I thank all of you.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't think
I'll
we'd
agree.
be having. I don't think we'd have this chat going on right now if Mr. TPC hadn't jumped on and we kind of got led down this.
Amen.
If so, I thank TPC and Defense Dad, who were the first guys to jump on, and we just rolled with it. And I'm loving what I'm hearing, and I haven't really had any arguments to say anything, so I've just kind of sat back and listened.
And I think people are afraid that this turns into something ugly. It does not have to be a revolution. As a matter of fact, the goal of great advocacy and passionate advocacy is to stop the train before it pops off the tracks. Is to stop where we see ugliness coming before we get there. And if you pour as much passion into that as you pour into any level of training, right, we will see an impact. We will see a change. We will see a difference.
Yeah, for the record, I'd much rather see a peaceful resolution of this. I think it, take some serious action on people, but by all means, everything costs you something. So as a people, it would be better for us if this was something peaceful, but that doesn't mean it couldn't be civil disobedience on a mass scale, saying we're not doing it.
Well, when it's civil disobedience on a mass scale, if you have 32 million people being civilly disobedient towards a point, it's no longer disobedience. It's the new rule. And so, just like we've spoken in the past, we have a tendency to align this towards negative things. We have a tendency.
Mob rule can get us into trouble too now. So.
Well, but mob rule is different than saying what you've said is violating who we are as a people, and we do not accept it. Remember,
sure, I get that.
32 million people saying this is unacceptable to 10 people is actually a majority of people not accepting tyranny. And so we have a tendency to think of this as being a situation. But remember, Congress, our president, all of these people, the Senate, have rule by our permission. We grant them the ability to rule over us. And so the moment that we forget that and it becomes that the law circumvents our ability to live as good people, then we get into the situations that we always talked about in hushed tones. Then we end up in that scenario where we were no longer free. You don't have to let it get to the point where it's the ugly version of that. It doesn't have to turn into a revolution. You just have to remind those people that ultimately they have permission to rule us, not complete control of us. And Kingpin just pointed it out. The ballot box is the single most unused weapon we have. Amen, Kingpin.
Yep. So I'm going to welcome Mr. Tread to the chat, and a fellow Oregonian, Mr. CB. So welcome, guys, and thank you guys for being here and being a part of this conversation, because everyone out in the chat can help direct us where we go.
Fin Dog, Kingpin, the ballot box has a lot of deads recently. And that's another thing that we can control. In my hometown, a local fella decided that he was done with the lefty influence that was completely dominating our school board, and so he actually ran for school superintendent and he won. And he's beginning to change some of that. And so, I'm sure that the lefties will take him to federal court and things of that nature, but he's already having a positive influence. And so, if you don't like what's in the ballot box and you can get sufficient backing because you've begun to develop a local movement towards your idealisms, then you can change that.
And with the ballot box, has anyone else been seeing where some of them are being tampered with?
Oh yeah, there are over like 100 mailmen now.
Yeah, that
They're out
happens
messing with
every
stuff.
year. Yeah.
No, this is the actual like where your cities put out their ballot boxes for
Ballot
collecting.
collection boxes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that people
where
are putting
people are
fake
actually like
boxes out too.
where
Yeah,
people
they've
are
been setting them on fire.
Yeah, Molotov cocktails and then other stuff that they're doing to destroy all the ballots that are in there.
So what are we supposed to do when the system fails?
Well, when the system fails, that goes again to investing in your local area, investing in your local population. I live very close to where the Battle of Athens occurred, and so when the corruption got so bad there, the people got together and pushed back. They didn't kill people; they eliminated the problem by taking the power back. By telling the government you can no longer govern effectively. And so now we're going to take it back and hit the reset button and start the government over again here so that things get back to the way they should be. And so that power only exists if you've been playing politics the whole time. If you have already gathered the people who are like-minded and encouraged that type of advocacy. Okay, so right now the left, the radical left, as Kingpin so accurately points out, Patriot, bravo, sir, bravo. That's awesome. What Kingpin is talking about, the radical left got where it is today, not by shutting up and going to work and paying bills every day and expecting they would somehow magically be rewarded for that. They got where they were today by making noise. They raised hell. Now, you and I are smarter than to destroy our cities and our local businesses, but we're more than capable of raising hell. We're more than capable of being passionate. What we lack is to provide the leadership to people so that they feel they can follow it. Outstanding defense, Dad.
Sometimes just getting somebody to go out and vote can be helpful.
Yep.
But just getting them to go vote doesn't mean anything if they're not willing to educate themselves on the people that are actually running.
Yep.
Because I can go and put an X by anybody's name doesn't mean I know a damn thing about them.
Well, and then here's the other thing, and I hate to be this way, but we, for some reason, feel guilty when we use our numbers and power to override the behaviors of people that we do not agree with. Okay? And so I hear this all the time. Well, that's kind of radicalism if we all gather together and push back against that, blah, 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 blah. We have to stop that thought process. What we're actually talking about here is enforcing constitutional rights, even if that means grouping together and pushing back against how other people think they should live. It's just enforcing the original way we were to believe. Because don't even think for a minute, by the way, that they won't wipe you out to get their way on their way to what they believe is a great way to live. And so I keep hearing people over and over again say, well, then we're just as bad as they are. Well, I don't see them as bad. I see them as people who want to push their perspective, which we don't agree with. Now, the problem is that their perspective is contrary to what is the constitutional way of life that we are promised if we continue to advocate for our own rights in this nation. And so we can't see ourselves as being less than good human beings by being just as fervent and passionate about our cause as the left is about their cause.
I'd encourage people to get out and vote. It is, something that isn't taken advantage of, and that's truthfully part of the problem in a sense. And a lot of people obviously don't like what happens, but I'm also a believer, I think you should get out and vote. I think you should be active. You should, whatever you do something more than the average person, whether it's going to rallies or donating or out there actually taking people out to do something. Which I think is more valuable than just donating in some cases, unless it's legal things and they're actually acting on stuff. But even so, I still don't. I do everything because it's just my conscience. I got to try to do it right, as Ghost brought up earlier. But at the same time, I'm not expecting that to pay off at this point. I'm really not. I don't have much faith in the system, period. And that all started after the military state. But needless to say, I just don't have the faith I think a lot of people do that you're going to fix. It's like going into a casino and trying to have a fair shake. It's just not going to happen. There's so much corruption, no accountability. I personally feel we should already be trying to hit a reset peacefully. But again, you got to do it the right way. So if God forbid you ever hit your limit or have to make your stand, you're cleared between you and God. But
and I'd say that's where that local advocacy comes in. And Gabriel just pointed out, influence those who know. And Defense Dad, I agree wholeheartedly with you, sir. If you are collecting local like-minded people, and so, hey, man, the output or the outpouring of people into my local group has not been initially what I expected it to be. It's starting to pick up, right? Because people are, as we get closer to November 3rd, are starting to go, holy crap, there's a chance that this might get ugly real quick, right? And so, and I'd expect an even larger influx of people after there. If you are a target for people to go to who are like-minded in those moments, you're going to see people who are wanting to take action. And as long as you can be that positive, level-headed, calm-headed influence in those moments, because these people are panicked. People come to me who are losing their minds, okay, with fear. And what I do is I give them something to focus on that is not, craziness, right? Not what they're seeing in the media. That's not insanity. And I help them find focus and direction where they can have impact. And that's what we can do right now. Because you're right. We have to do it the peaceful way until that's no longer an option. And you or any of us here could be the target of that for people. You could be the person where people go to.
I am going to thank
nowhere to find me.
Ghost Tactical. I'm going to thank Mr. Ghost Tactical for jumping on and being on for as long as he can. And I'm going to welcome in Mr. FNH to the chat and Mr. Ozzy. So, welcome. And Mr. Defense Dad says he can't type because he's got CLP all over his hands because he's cleaning his guns for a competition tomorrow.
Color me jealous. It's pouring rain here. I may not get to do a gun review tomorrow.
Got it from Night Strike. It's probably actually bath water, but it'll work.
So, I gotta do a video on my shotgun. I kind of glimpsed it in my last little review video, but I think I'm gonna actually do a desktop kind of talking about it and stuff. And we've lost the poor conservative.
Oh no. This shotgun that they sent me the other day, sent me information on, and I picked up today, is basically, it looks like somebody built a shotgun using Magpul furniture, but it's not Magpul furniture. It's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. So, like I said in my little review video, those M-Lock QD mounts were sent to the channel. They were provided. They were provided by Boosteddy, but I think they're actually, pretty good. You get two of them for like $11.
Yeah.
And I had a couple comments about them checking into them for key for the Keynote system.
I've got a Boosteddy sling over here soaking in a tub of water to test its rust resistance.
Yeah, I couldn't find the loops for Keymod, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna email my contact at the company and see if they actually make them, and maybe they can send me either an Amazon link to them or maybe just some place where they can be found, because I was kind of looking for them, but so I will.
Yeah,
actually...
I've found loops in Keymod, but to be honest, I'm not much of a sling type person, so I'm not into the whole tactical Timmy thing. I just
yeah.
I take it out, I go shooting, and if I'm going to be slinging it up, it's going to be, duct tape to my freaking range case. I'm not going to sit there walking around carrying an AR on me like that. Mine's just a pistol, so it doesn't matter. It's small. I can carry it in my hand.
I got it wrong. It's not a competition. It's a fundraiser shooting event for the Shriners.
Okay.
Still kind of competition.
An Illuminati shooting competition? What? I'm sorry.
So, yeah.
I've never got into Keymod, or I can't even think of the other one now. So.
M-Lock.
Yeah,
M-Lock,
I just run
QD.
standard.
I know they're lighter and everything. I just got stronger to deal with the weight of my rail.
Yeah, I use those. I mean, I purchase the guns that I do purchase as a tool more than anything else. So I'm not too concerned with keeping up with the fat or whatever. I would like it to fit on any standard issue equipment or anything like that may come up. So to me, it's all about modularity and price.
Yeah.
I just thought it looked cool, so.
Yeah.
Weight isn't a big factor. It's not like an AR is heavy to start with. So.
Right.
My Desert Eagle's heavier than my AR.
To carry it sometimes, so weight adds up. Weight's a big factor to me, especially if you're pumping anything long. Whether you got 2 pens or 3 can make a big difference.
Rob, but
you're ridiculous, but.
It's true.
You're a skinny guy,
Yeah, I always think the worst case scenario. It's better to be ahead of the game than reacting to
Rob's
it.
talking about weight when he's like 105 pounds, sopping wet.
No.
Yeah, I mean my AR is just barely heavier than a sandwich, so.
But I see M. Gabriel is heading out, so have a great night, M. Gabriel, and yep, stay safe.
I actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go.
No, I actually ordered a piece. I'm going to be SBRing an AOE. I'm going to be taking a Shockwave once all my paperwork gets done, and affixing it to the bottom of one of my ARs with a interbar rail grabber quick detach system. We used to use on the shotguns that you attached under your M4 to breach with. I'm going to make my own civilian version of that. I've always wanted one.
I'm working on a 203 attachment for mine, so
yeah.
But
I have one
I won't
already.
talk
They're
about
so
how
much
that's
fun.
going. So.
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's I don't exactly have an FFL either, so.
Well, there are companies that'll sell them to you. I've got the 37 millimeter version. It's fun. It's good for smoke, though.
My FFL and I go back to junior high school together. And, let's just say we've had some very fun ideas over the years.
But yeah, you can buy M203s for about $1,700. I've seen them in different places. 40 millimeters, full rifle barrel, the whole 9 yards. You just got to go through all that mess.
That would be like my gun budget for a year, so
yeah.
I'd rather just borrow one from Andy.
Right. Makes a good video.
I see we are joined out in the crowd by Mr. Wheeled and Well Armed.
Yay, Wheeled.
Yep, he is a great guy.
He's a good guy. We were talking barbecue today.
Yeah. Man, did you see his video that he just did on the Walter
PPQ? Yep, Q4. Yeah, that was a good video. Yeah. That was some nice shooting.
That was one tack driver.
I don't own a Walther that's not a tack driver.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Pistols. I mean, you put a good solid magazine in there. You can drive anything up 16 penny nails with.
Right,
them, so.
At least, yeah. Good swing.
But today has been a marathon streaming day.
Has it? Dude, I went to a party.
I haven't been in the bathroom that much, so.
I started streaming at 12:30 this afternoon on the West Coast. So 3:30 on the East Coast.
Nice.
That's a lot of liquid.
Luckily, during the 2A rally, I didn't have to do anything except just have it, going. I could. So I pulled it up on my phone, my channel up on my phone when I had to go into the restroom, so I could keep on the conversation in the chat. No one had to hear me talk.
Yeah, that wouldn't be in like the greatest sound effect, so.
There's a room full of gun guys. It's not like somebody would be offended by it.
Well, it's not about offense. It would turn into a competition.
This is valid. Your point is well made, sir.
I mean, I'd have to start eating beans or something. So,
oh Lord, my wife and I went to an extremely high-end steakhouse for dinner last night, and they served us some of the sides were a fabulous potato dish, wonderfully prepared asparagus and green beans, and it was a bad night.
Oh, asparagus makes for a fun night for leaving vapor trails. So.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's healthy for you.
It is.
I love asparagus. It's one of my favorite vegetables. So.
Cleans you right out, man. Clean as a whistle.
Yep.
So they tell you eat a salad first because it breaks down differently than a lot of the other foods. So therefore, the gases help flush you out, keep you going, so you're not literally full of shit.
Yep. Clean it out.
I don't know. I've been full of that most of my life, so not afraid to admit it either.
so true.
Body's your number one tool, man. Your body and mind. In the end, that's what we're left with. So
my mind is corrupt.
I think all of our minds are a little corrupt. Come on, let's be real for a minute.
Well, I'll give you a very bad visual. If you can imagine this, I'm a former professional musician with multiple degrees from college. My mind has gone places it should have never been. So.
Did it make it back?
Sometimes. I do believe there are places in the world that pieces of it have been left. So
Yeah.
I can think of Germany and the Netherlands, just to name a couple right off the bat. So.
Wield and Well Armed does have a good point that during the 2A rally, it did seem like it was taken over by some very left-leaning people.
You think? Has anybody ever read Rob Pincus's page or Cheryl Todd's page, on Instagram or anything? I mean, they're nice people. They have some really good stuff going on, but they're not exactly the most conservative people in the world. So
I'm not trying to give ideas or start crap, but I think if somehow radio stations were pirated and this same thing went out across radio stations without permission, it would have got a lot more attention.
Oh yeah.
You're right. You are right.
Yeah, I think we need to have some. I'm not so sure. Like local radio would really do, like radio and stuff. But if we had like XM, where it'd probably hit more people, because I think a lot more people have kind of turned away from your local radio stations and have gone to a lot of the XM. Because it comes in most of your cars nowadays.
Hey, there's only one radio station that I have that is not so left-leaning that I'll even listen to it. We have a fairly good one. It's a kind of a patriot station. It's fairly middle of the road, but most of them are so left-leaning that I won't even listen to them unless they're just playing music.
All right. Well, instead of radio, what if it was Xbox Live or something? Anything where you're gonna piss people off, pretty much.
Yeah.
You mess with games when you're looking for riots. Not that that's what we want.
Now, in my area, as far as the radio goes, about the only place you could get anything like a 2A conversation on radio would be one of the really bad AM stations, because there is nothing on FM in this area that would ever carry it. My town, is very, very left leaning. So
that's where the piracy comes in.
Yep.
Yeah, pirate radio would be a great thing, but I think that went out with the 80s. So
well,
like
it went out with Europe.
We have a country radio station here that does talk a lot about like 2A stuff, and at least in the area that I am in, it's really heavily 2A. I mean, we have car dealerships that hold buy a car, get a gun.
I need a pickup truck. That would be totally worth it if it was a good gun.
Give me any ammo with it.
Yeah, give me an M134 and I'll think about buying a pickup. But,
they have a deal with one of the local stores that you buy a car from them and then you get to go pick out a gun at a certain value through them.
I wonder if they'd let me pick out my parts and let me build it myself.
Ooh, now there's a thought.
That's what I did with my 300 Blackout. So
the thing is the store that they use I would.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure that if you talked with Sean there, he would probably be like, "Yeah, we could do something like that." 'Cause, I mean,
Sean. That's a good Irish name.
Yeah,
Sean's a really good guy.
It's a
build an
sales
air
technique, so you're still paying for it. You
Yeah,
just
of
don't
course.
think you are.
Well, yeah, you're paying, you know,
But it's still
Whatever
good
the
as
cost
opposed to a businesses. So.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's like my car, right? I don't pay for oil changes. I don't pay for basic maintenance or any of those things. And people like to point out to me, "Oh, well, that's just included in the price." I'm like, "Yes, I understand that. That's part of the reason why I bought the car, because I don't want to be futzed with that stuff."
Well, and not always, because so like when we were in South Carolina,
You don't understand sales. There's always a catch, man. That's how it is. It's like a senior discount or things like that. Unless you're going to a buffet, if you're talking any kind of services, that cost was added on before they got to your door.
Yep.
Hey, don't ruin my fantasies about senior discounts. I'm almost
All
there.
right. Well, no, you're good at the buffet, man.
Yeah, you can make your money back at the
price.
buffet.
You're already set. But if it's not a posted price, you're still paying for it. So. The idea behind it is making that customer feel special and applying different deals or credits or this or that, and people eat that shit up. So, and
veterans discounts.
Yeah, again, if it's a posted price, go for it. It's a deal. But if it's not, you're probably still getting screwed. So don't hold back. Still, try to get a better deal.
Well, there's 15 different companies that do 10% off to veterans as a part of their stuff with the base posted price. Some of those are good deals, and then some of them,
Do you guys shop at Lowe's?
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you guys think of this bullshit? Where you got to go?
You have to register.
Yeah. Well, the problem I have with that is half the people I work for know my number, and I've had people literally try to copy my ID so they can get a discount. It's like it seems more official if I just show you an ID at the register than you just give them my phone number. Anybody can give them
Dude, that's why I shop Home Depot.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, I have my ID, my VA, and then I have my actual driver's license that has veteran on it, right? And so I go Home Depot for that very reason, because as long as I flash that to them, one of those two to them, they give me my discount.
I agree.
Lowe's lost my
register with no BS.
Yep.
I'm actually sitting here looking at a Blaine's Farm and Fleet flyer right now. So,
so Defense Dad says that he was like, "Huh." I had a comment on my shotgun video who asked how to take the Kachunker off to swap it out.
You know what? Not the worst description I've ever heard.
Would that be the foregrip?
Yeah.
I finally figured out he meant the forehead.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's one of the new gun owners.
That's all right, dude. That is not the worst description. I like that. Hang on. It's apt. It truly is. Let's see. Yep, the Kachunker. I like it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, at least you were able to understand what he meant. So it's not that far off. So
all I can say is thank God for magazine load.
Yeah.
So, Patriot in the Dark says, "Yeah, I don't listen to gun talk because Tom said blind guys shouldn't shoot. He's an
my
asshat."
God. There's some that I won't listen to at all. Yeah.
I've pretty much given up on all of them. So
I was shocked at first. I'll admit, when I found out about Patriot, I was a little shocked, and I had to stop and think about it. But in the end, I don't see what the problem is. You know who's getting physical with you. You know who's in your house and shouldn't be in the middle of the night, even if you can't see. Like, there's certain things I don't see the problem.
I'm just saying that what if the hooker puts on different perfume that night? There could be problems. Patriot, how do you deal with that?
No, he's got to smell like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, here's where I look at this. It doesn't matter if you're blind or if you can see. When the lights are out, you can't see.
Yeah, I guess so. So I'm trying to understand where you're going with this. So is it?
I mean, most of your like self-defense situations, kind of, are like in the dark. Yeah, us people that can see, we can put a flashlight on our gun so we can kind of, be able to identify. But if you have to, like, just, rely on all your other senses, your hearing, your smelling, knowing, okay, well, this person, comes in at this time every night, roughly, and stuff like that.
Why don't we let him in so he can explain it?
Yeah.
The link
I don't
is
know.
in the crowd.
He's backstage, dude. You're holding him out while you tell us how he works.
I don't even think that would even make a difference, or if that's true in a sense, because of the fact that a lot of crimes actually happen around 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
They're still daytime because people don't really expect that, or midday.
But yeah, my wife,
invasions, things like that, when people are at work, not at night.
Yeah. Both of my attempted home invasions happened in the morning, and so it was bright light. One of them was in Texas, and one of them was here in Tennessee. It was bright outside.
Well, the link is in the crowd, so if anyone wants to jump in,
He said he was backstage.
Yeah. Here.
Again, it doesn't mean if somebody gets manhandling on him, you can't tell who that individual is.
Yeah.
So we are joined by Mr. Wheeled and Well Armed, and Mr. Defense Dad is back in the crowd.
Yay!
Hey,
Welcome,
how's it going,
gentlemen.
Dad?
So, Patriot in the Dark says the first thing he does is grabs his chunker.
That'll do it. Set that bad boy up full blunderbuss.
Hey, that's what I want for Christmas is a blunderbuss kit. So,
Oh yeah. I just want a repeating blunderbuss. I want the capacity to spray a broad swath of shells.
well, then you have to eat 2 bowls of beans. So,
Right.
So, well,
When I was in high school, I bought a duck foot, and it was only one I could buy illegally, and it was incredible. It had 3 barrels, and it shot out at about a 45, not quite a 45-degree angle, but probably a 35-degree angle. 3 barrels. It was fun.
That's outstanding.
that would be way cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I got out of Army, and I used it as kind of like a, in college, I just had it sitting on the coffee table, and at some party, somebody stole it.
I had a pepper box at one point. That was pretty fun.
Did you marry her?
Pretty cool
No.
to have too. It had 4 barrels.
It had, I think it had 8 total.
Oh my god!
I've never seen that one.
Hang on. I have to pull up the image of the thing. It was either 8 or 6. Let's see.
Haven't you guys ever shot a palm gun?
No,
Okay.
a what?
Palm gun.
it was the
literally
English
fits in your
bar
palm.
hammer pepper box, 6 barrels. I never fired the thing. No, I've never fired a palm gun.
This is the first time hearing of one.
Yeah, the NRA Museum in Fairfax has one. I got it. Actually, there's a little clip in my video of it, but because it kind of fascinates me. I'd love to have one. I'm sure they got to be something to shoot, even though being a smaller caliber, just you have literally no handle in a sense. You're kind of holding what looks like almost like a yo-yo size or something with a pen sticking out of it. That's your barrel, kind of. You just kind of squeeze the little trigger. Basically, there's not much there. It all fits in your palm. So I'm quite curious.
So what you're describing is the pre-cat, the
Squeeze pistols.
well, the very first Altor.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
No, because
A little
it
more
was
advanced.
more than one round.
Yeah, it would
Oh.
fire like
round,
what,
yeah, it had
4?
like a spring,
Yeah.
kind of like a stopwatch or whatever, a spring wind up or AK circular mag or something like
Yeah,
In
it went
a
around the
cylinder.
circle, didn't it?
Yeah, in a cylindrical magazine. Yeah.
Huh.
that. So it would just kind of rotate. You just squeeze the two little things next to the barrel and it pops off. I don't know how many rounds it had, but I just think that was pretty cool. Also, that Nazi belt buckle that
Belt
turned
buckle.
into two guns. Yeah, two barrel, felt like a
Yep.
double barrel Dillinger hooked to your belt buckle. That was pretty damn cool too.
I fired a Comanche. Not an
Not sure what
original
that
one,
is.
a remake. The Comanche pistol. It's a knuckle duster revolver with a knife all in one.
Okay.
It's-
I've seen it. I just
Yeah.
don't know the name. Yeah. All that
It's-
type of stuff interests me. I like that.
Yeah.
That's some crazy engineering, and I can see being very handy little weapons for certain lines of work.
I mean, at point blank range, if you were doing work at 6 feet, it worked just fine for it.
I had to look
So,
up what you're
Pete-
talking about, and it looks like one of those crazy like zapper palm things when you shake people in the hands, but it's a gun.
It's got a
Kinda,
barrel. It's
yeah.
got like a 3-inch barrel on it, 2 or 3 inch barrel on it. Yeah.
Patriot in the Dark says, it's the pistol Nick Cage had in his kid's boyhood room in National Treasure.
Oh, did he? I didn't even know that.
I'm trying to think back to that movie, and
What is the pin gun that you could buy without going through? You don't need an FFL. It's a pin and it folds up, and it's a 22 caliber.
Man, you can go to any corner around my area and get
Oh,
a zip
good
gun.
Lord.
I don't care.
No, but what is
That
it
might have
called?
been.
Where do you get
that
one?
might have been the first technical firearm I've ever messed with.
I don't know, man. I've never even heard of it. Every one of those that I've ever seen have been either AOWs or it's been considered to be a firearm. So
Yeah, I
Like-
think there's one that gets around the loophole of being a firearm, and it just because it's single shot, it's a pin or something. I don't know, but
wow. I'm looking desperately on Google right now.
that would be pretty interesting. I mean, there's only
I've
one
seen
that there's only one that I can think of, and it was like an all metal pin, kind of like the old clicker pin,
Mhm.
and it held a single 22 or 25 auto, and you just you hit the button just like if you were trying to bring out the writing, and it would fire off a single round.
Kind of like a zip gun.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Most zip guns usually pull. At least what I've seen. The easier. It's just a little spring you snap back with a key ring or something.
Yeah, this one, you actually, when you bend it, a trigger pops down out of the pin, out of the cylinder. I'll see if I can find it while I'm on Google. I'll pop over.
Oh, was this one of the World War II Special Forces things? I know what you're talking about. Dang, what was the nomenclature on that? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
And they came preloaded, right?
They came preloaded, and that's why you don't need a license, I think.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Dude, that just hit me. Yes, I haven't seen one of those in 20 years.
They store them in eyeglass cases.
It was military, and the reason
Yes.
you don't is because it's not reloadable. It's a single
Yes.
shot.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Gosh, they used to sell them at gun shows. I remember.
but imagine if that's legal in there's got to be some loophole that you could have it in a 9mm that doesn't have that's not reloadable or I mean, if I had a 9mm pin I could just carry around in my pocket, fold it in half and pull the trigger. I mean, that would be all you'd need. I mean, carry 2 of or 3 of
Yeah.
them. I mean, the average gun battle is 3 shots, right?
Right.
Just carry 3, 1 pin in your pocket, 1 in your other pocket, 1 in your boot.
Well, they were in 22 short because I think there was too much pressure on the 22 LR cartridge.
Okay,
For
I
the
don't remember any of the details. Yeah.
the pin. I'm trying to find the name of them. I'm sitting here. I was looking up.
Modern materials,
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. Some polymer or something, you might be able to pull off a low power, even say a subsonic 22, because you're not going to be shooting them across the room or anything.
No, it's going to be.
Unfortunately, I don't remember the name either. I do know, like I said, I believe they were issued with a eyeglass case.
Yes, you're exactly right.
For diplomats and things
You're
like that.
exactly right. It was an anti-hostage weapon. It was to prevent them from being taken as a hostage. And I remember now, they stopped producing them because in general, it was considered to be worse to attack the hostage taker than it was to be taken hostage. Oh man, gosh.
Well, that's the scary thing with something like that. I think
Yeah.
some people may get a little too confident. In some cases, 1 round might just be enough to open up a can of worms.
Exactly right.
That's honestly how I feel with a revolver, especially, in urban areas. I know if I get in an argument with one person on my street, there's a couple people where a whole family's going to be showing up before we're done arguing. That's just how they go. So, you could almost give it what some people would refer to as a trailer park effect or something. You mess with one, you mess with all of them. And in urban areas, you have that situation. Or you have the distressed, female that's going to come out and try to stab you or whatever else as well. So, extra is always good.
New York, what you're saying about those gangs, remember it came out this past summer, like if one gang member, no matter what gang it was being accosted by a policeman, they would all shoot the policeman. Remember that came out in May, June?
Yep.
Yeah, I recall that. But it's basically the same on a personal level. It don't have to make sense or whatever. It's a representation. They're gonna, that's my boy or whatever the case is. You got issues, even if the argument was started because they were in the wrong and it should have just been a simple, oh my bad, and walked on. You can find yourself in a really bad spot pretty quick. So
oh yeah, well,
don't count on 1 round.
No.
Granted, statistically, it may not be the case, but practically, I would just play it safe.
I don't, in general, do not involve myself in other people's business. I've intervened in an emergency situation where somebody was potentially going to die, but outside of that, if you want to get in a fight with your boyfriend in the middle of the town square, I'll call the police, but I ain't getting in your stuff because you might stab me in the back while I'm fisticuffs with your boyfriend. Sure,
but in some places, I can name off some occasions here where all it takes is saying hi to somebody to get a physical altercation. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it. I think it's stupid, but that's how some people are wired.
You mean miswired?
Yeah.
Let's be honest for a second. We're not talking about normal humans here.
Exactly. Yeah, some people you just can't reason with.
Yeah, they're short wired somehow. Ooh, do I want a SBS an Ithaca 37 and use that as an underbarrel shotgun? Oh my gosh, that would be gorgeous.
Get one of them zip pens. They're not a bad idea.
It's called a zip pen?
Well, I don't know. I'm just referring to the zip gun. So I don't know. Or if you make one or whatever.
What was the name of that? I swear I saw it on Forgotten Weapons. I swear the voice in my head.
Handgun, and then use your handgun to get to your rifle.
Right. That is my least favorite expression when people say you're using your handgun to get to your rifle. No, friend, if you're in an engagement, your handgun is your rifle at that moment. If you can't get it to do the job you need it to do, you're probably out of the fight.
Yeah, I just hate hearing the stories where Grandpa got stabbed in the back as he was trying to unlock his gun cabinet.
Yeah.
Something's better than nothing, although I think you should have access to one.
You have in my house, you have access to a firearm that is at least 9mm in every room. Some rooms you have access to at least 9mm and 12 gauge.
There's probably at least two of us on this panel that would say those should be 40 cal in every room.
40 cal, yeah.
At least.
Step up your weak crap, Nighthawk. Yeah. Well, to be fair, they're all Berettas. Okay, they're all Beretta 92s. So.
Okay, so they're wearing Italian shoes.
Yeah, that's exactly. They're wearing Italian shoes. I cut my teeth on the Beretta 92, so it's one of the pistols that I shoot really great with. So.
In my house, it's either German or Italian lately.
German or Italian recently. I seem to be getting a SIG collection. They're making some pretty dang good firearms here recently.
They really are.
I had someone talking their P938 today, but then they backed out.
Oh,
I think I'm the only one who's collecting baby Desert Eagles. So
baby Eagles. My local pawn shop has one for sale right now.
Man, they are so accurate. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I've got one. I'll sell you.
A baby eagle?
Yeah. It's
40?
No, it's 9mm. It's all it's stainless.
Oh no! I had a Jericho that was stainless, that was polished. And,
I like Jerichos.
I'm not much for 9mm. So
it's a 941.
Yep, 941s. I love the 941s if I could find one with a 41 barrel still. So that's the one I want. I know one guy who has it, and unfortunately, he's a complete waste of human flesh. So.
Oh, that's too bad.
I either got to get new sights for it or got to get rid of it. I just hate the sights on it. Just kind of those battlefield sights from the 80s or whatever.
Yeah, there's a number of companies out there that make replacement sights for the Jerichos now. So.
Yeah, I called Dawson, and Dawson acted like this was a little peculiar, and he wanted me to send it over. So I'm like, well, but I mean, I know it'd come back right, but just didn't really want to pay $40 to send it and pay $40 for it to come back, just the size plus the size.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying.
I hate messing with sights on handguns.
I have a nice sight butcher.
Gosh, especially if it's your normal EDC.
It's one of the few things I can do besides changing the rod and spring. So, I actually enjoy it. I'm not a gunsmith by any step or any stretch of the imagination. So,
yeah, it's not the physical act; it's the building the confidence.
It's wasting the 50 rounds getting it sighted back in that sucks, especially these days.
Yeah, no kidding.
Bang tap, bang tap, bang tap.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to take the range too.
Take the slide off, loosen the screw, slide it over, tighten the screw back up, and put the slide back on. Oh,
one of the worst things is, so Lee Enfields, the front sights on Lee Enfields are, you exchange the front sight out to get the 0 on it, right? And so it's just absolutely awful. And I can usually get it within 3 sight changes, but it's like, okay, dovetail in the sight, put the front sight back, reattach the wood, put it all together, line it up perfectly in the grip, pull the trigger in the sled. Bang. Crap. Take the gun apart again, tap out. It is a nightmare to do. But once you get it in, it's in.
I'll tell you something that's funny, and everybody pretty much knows I'm not a Glock guy. But when I got my Taurus TH40, and Shooting Gallery New England was giving me a great deal of grief today about my collection of Tauruses.
Not bad guns.
I have not had a problem with any of the ones that I own, so that's all I can say. I know people have, and I know the company. The company is not the best, but I like the ones that I have. But my TH40, the sights on my TH40 are literally the easiest sights I have ever had on a pistol to sight in. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing I can say for that firearm. And actually, I like it, but I mean, it took me like 7 shots to get that thing, perfectly zeroed for my eye.
Yeah.
And they're plastic sights, so all you got to do is push them over to the left or right, right?
Oh, mine aren't plastic. Mine are cast
Just
iron.
kidding.
So.
Just kidding.
I will
Never
say this
blocked.
about Force though. So I finally got the update the other day, and they are completely replacing my G3C rather than fixing it.
Oh, okay.
Question for you, Nighthawk.
Yeah.
What's your battle rifle?
Well, I have 2. So, are we talking about urban combat or woods?
I assume one of them the 5.56, right?
Yes, urban combat is 5.56, and it's a
What zero? did you
Colt
decide to go
AR-15. It's for street combat. It's zeroed at 37 yard 0 and it's like 265 out. So it's 37 on the initial 0, 37 yards.
Okay. Sure.
Look up a 37 yard 0.
Yeah, I did actually.
Okay.
I just did mine. I thought it was 36 yards, 108 feet. So
Yeah, that's something to do.
and that was 5 shots to get out of it.
Yeah, I've got everything zeroed at 25 yards.
Yeah. Well, 25 makes sense if you're going 300 on the backside because 25 and 300 have the same impact on 5.56. But I'm not concerned. It's like what 200. It's 262 feet or something like that on the backside of 36 or 37 yards. And then my battle rifle for forest environment is in 308. It's an AR-10.
Yeah, my secondary is a 300 blackout, and so I've got it kind of same thing, 25.
Yeah, my 308's zeroed at 50 yards, and then because you're not going to get a shot any much beyond 50 yards around here, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, same here in Georgia. I mean, 100 yards is your maximum unless you have somebody perfectly running down the power line.
Yeah, and I'm set up on a tiered site, so I know that my first bar is 100 and my second bar is 200. So, I can pretty well put a shot in on either end there. God help us if we ever end up in that situation, which I hope we never do.
Yeah, I've got that PA 1-6 zoom scope, 1-6 by 24. And it's a first focal plane, and it's pretty nice, but the eye box is so small. I mean, I've got it feels like a 1/4 inch to move back or forward on. That's what I don't like about it.
Right. I run a Trijicon on my city rifle and a EOTech on my woods rifle, and then the Trijicon rifle has 45-degree sights on it.
Are those open red dots?
So the Trijicon is an ACOG, and then the EOTech is the regular old 512 EOTech.
So the ACOG is like 3.5 or 4?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other is what? It's open as well?
It's a standard. The 512 is I can't remember what the diameter is. What is it? 42 millimeter or something like that.
Yeah, but that's just 0. I mean, 1
0.
eye.
Yeah. And then the EOTech, you can use both eyes on the EOTech, and then it's 0. It has no magnification on it at all. And then the Trijicon is 1.5, and then I've got the I can't speak anymore because I've had a lot of beer. The magnifier on the backside.
Okay. Yeah. So I've got two of my. I've got 2 ARs that both have Holosun, just no magnification. The really big Holosun open thing, and then I've got that PA 1-6 on my. So I've got 2 PWS 5.56 and a 300 blackout, and then I've got a LWRC with that 1-6.
Gotcha. That's a good setup. I've been looking at some of the longer range stuff. They've got 4x32s and things of that nature. I always have a hard time putting a significant zoom on a battle rifle, though, or especially around here. Georgia and Tennessee is such short range. But you've got a pretty good FOV on any TreasureCon site, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I can shoot both eyes open better, but I think I'm going to go to, because I want to have something for distance, and I'm really thinking about getting this no-name brand, but man, the eye box is like 3 inches. But I know it's crazy, but it's a 3x9 or 3x12 or something. It's here in these Georgia gun shows all the time. It's called Osprey Global. Never heard of them. It's Japanese glass and made in China, but it's the quality controls here in Cartersville, Georgia. And they're at all the local gun shows, and I see them, time after time, a huge booth, and the guys are really nice, and I'm just like, let me try one for a week, and they're like, you buy it, you want to return it if you can, but
God, it looks nicer than a freaking sight mark.
Yeah, it's I'd say it's better than the sight mark. I mean, and that eye box is huge. I mean, they put it on the blue gun, and I could, jerk my head way back and forth and see it, where compared to my PA, 1-6, it's always got that little teeny circle because I'm never in the right exact spot to the millimeter.
My God, it looks like one of the Spark series optics. That's actually pretty nice looking, dude. So they've got, I'd be interested in buying. I'm going to order one right now just to test it out and see how it works.
You're looking at it?
Yep, I'm on their webpage, Osprey Global.
Yep, it's good looking. It's a short optic too.
I'm still waiting on my prism scope. It's going backward.
Say again? I missed you.
I said I'm still waiting on my prism scope. It's going backward.
It says it's nitrogen filled, waterproof, shockproof. This would be worth beating up to see if it was any good.
Yeah, if you do review it, pay good attention to how many clicks it takes to move it over and things.
Right.
Like that.
And if you can feel a click, right?
Can you feel a click? Yeah. Who's vacuuming?
That's what I was wondering.
Probably the fan.
You have a B59 or B52 in your living room? Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Osprey Global. It says they're on Amazon. Let's see. They sell laser lights.
I'm glad I ordered that Hollow Sun so I didn't get stuck waiting on that prism. So I was sold on it too, but looking around for it, from what I've seen, people were saying they had it, and then as soon as you give them your money, they tell you they don't have it. So.
Yeah, I can find it 3 times magnifying to 1, but not 2.5. Is that me doing that?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I'll hop out.
No, dude, we like having you here. Just don't make a lot of awful noises anymore.
Well, I think you're breathing.
I'll come back in.
Yeah, not sure.
Now look
Not
what
sure
you
where
did,
the hell.
Nighthawk.
I know.
Don't blame that one on me.
Come on back, defense dad. We didn't mean it.
Usually
feeling.
it's me. Usually it's me. That one was not me.
I was blaming Rob the whole time.
This thing, it acts like it's got it's got a Picatinny on top of it. It's got a 1913 and everything. Yeah, I want to try this thing.
Well, you got the poor guy excited.
Yeah, right.
It looks great.
It does, but they're not showing you a picture of the sight picture. That's what makes me nervous.
I'm telling you, I looked at that thing like 6 different gun shows. I just can't. I'm like, well, it's $245 or what is the price? I'm not looking at it.
$99.95.
What? Oh, I'm getting one. I thought it was $250.
Okay, let's make sure we're looking at the same one. It's the Osprey Scopes Red Dot compact sight, the one that looks kind of like a Trijicon.
No.
Okay, which one were you looking at? Sorry.
This one has a 3 to 12 zoom, 3 to 12 by 42.
3 to 12 by 42. Okay, let's see. So that's actually a scope. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to scopes. Scopes. 3 to 12 by 42.
It's either 3 to 12 or 4 to 12.
It's got to be a 4 to 12. There's a 4 to 16.
It's called a scouting scope.
Okay.
But I was looking, both eyes open, across the gun hall, and it was 42 is huge.
That 4x32 looks nice. Let's see. That's even got an iron sight set up on it. Shoot, man, this is some pretty nifty stuff. It'd be, if this stuff is resilient, this would be a great stuff to kind of do some entry level evaluation.
Well, he's halfway between you and me. Let's go meet there one day.
I'm saying.
I'm in Atlanta. You're in Tennessee. I mean,
yeah. I'm just outside of Chattanooga. Where's this guy at?
In Cartersville or above.
Okay.
I'm right on 75.
Dude, we need to do that actually.
Hey, it'll take me an hour.
You guys are only like 90 miles apart.
Dude, I am so tired of having like huge numbers of collaborators around me that I never get together and do anything with. I've got to get off my butt and do some stuff with some beers.
Yeah, that'd be a great little video. You two getting together.
Yeah, I'm just saying that Hickok 45 would totally benefit from a 90-minute trip down here and shooting with me at my range. I really think that would do wonders for his popularity.
How much are you willing to pay him?
Right. Hey, I don't blame the man. That's his retirement plan, right?
I mean, break out another 10 grand.
Right. But yeah, these optics look really good, and I've seen some good glass out of companies I've never even heard of here recently. Some real good glass.
I've been pretty happy with my Monstrum scopes.
Yeah, they've got some nice.
The UTI or not UTI. Under what's that one called? The
UGI.
They've got one shop that makes them in Thailand, and another place in Michigan. Anything on their Pro Series is made in Michigan. And they actually make a micro red dot now.
Yeah, they do have one. I'd be curious to see how some of their flashlights, like their battle grip flashlights and so forth, held up. I keep being surprised by some of these newer entry-level companies.
I can also agree that my Monstrum is pretty darn good too. So
yeah,
I've got the 1x4x24 on my AR, and then I've got. I need to get it on a set of regular scope rings, but on my Marlin of all things, I've got their 3x9, and it's pretty clear especially for it was like a $70 scope with the mount.
Yeah, I've got the 3 to 9 by 36, I think it is, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's crystal clear, and it's got the it's got the etched in reticle along with the illuminated. So if the battery goes, you've still got a reticle and.
Mine doesn't have the illuminated, but I think I'm going to upgrade that on my rifle. I'm going to throw that on my daughter's 1022 instead of the little cheap Barska that I got on there now.
Yeah, mine has. Yeah.
Can you put that 3x9? Can you shoot it both eyes open?
Me?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never tried.
Yeah, I got it on the 3. Can you just shoot it both eyes open? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never tried. I can next time I take it out, I'll give it a whirl.
Do you have is there a dot? Is it illuminated or not?
It's crosshair.
Okay.
I've just figured out why I know this company. They make the scopes that goes on the air rifles I used to squirrel hunt with. One of these scopes is on one of my air rifles.
That's funny.
I know it's dependable. I've killed squirrels at 25 and 30 yards with that air rifle.
I wonder who has a better kill rate on squirrels, my dog Stumpy or Nighthawk.
Probably Stumpy.
Stumpy's 8 for 8 right now. So.
When you get amplification, it's not good to shoot with both eyes open.
Yeah.
Past like 800 or something like that. Once you start getting up there, that the brain automatically switches over. So, and makes it more of an issue for you. So, is that something you guys don't see, or?
Well, in competition shooting, I shoot. What is it? So for CMP, I shoot I believe it's a 3 point. Is that me or you, New York? I think it's you, New York. I shoot a 3.5 magnification in CMP, and so I shoot that with both eyes open, but I zero the rifle that way too. So the rifle is zeroed with both eyes open with that magnification in a sled. And then when I get, I'm standing, sitting, kneeling, I have some modifications that I have to make between those positions as far as the zero on the rifle. But again, however you zero your rifle is, if you always use it that way, then the picture is always going to be the same. You know what I mean?
See, and you're talking about Jesus, is that me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. I think it's New York.
I think it is, yeah. No, you guys are talking about the 36 or 37 yard zero. Like with my range, I don't have much choice. You can't go in front of the firing line, so I have to zero either at 25 or 50. So I have my pistol zeroed at 25, but my rifle at 50.
Gotcha. Hey, again, that's not a bad zero for a battlefield rifle.
No. The problem is my pistol, that's the one I'm waiting on the Prism scope for. I was just checking ETA. They're saying ETA November now because they had all that damage from the storm back there. So they must have had a bunch of the 3 times magnifier and the 1 times, but there was the 2.5 that's really popular. So it's on back order.
Gotcha.
Although I did get to shoot through Travis's, and he's got the Vortex Diamondback. That was a lot clearer glass than my Monstrum, but that's a 9-day difference on scopes too.
Well, and I have Leopold scopes, and I have some much cheaper glass too, and it's kind of hard to tell the difference in some of them.
Well, and also too, I have the flash hider installed on my Monstrum, so it doesn't work quite as much light in it.
I'll tell you what, I'm sorry to see Nikon go out of the scope business because, for the money, you get a lot for $350.
Yeah.
Even
Absolutely.
$150.
Oh, yeah. Fully agreed.
It's really a shame. I mean, I don't know if they weren't selling enough. Maybe they just had too many out there because, they had 3 different price ranges, and then they had 60 different versions of each. So, you look at 240 different scopes they're making. Something like that. I don't know how many, and then they had different reticles too.
Right.
Well, there's so many scopes out there, and there's so many entry-level cheap ones coming out. The market's just flooded with them.
Yeah.
And the problem is some of the cheap ones are actually really good now. So.
Yeah, I have 2 sight marks and a spark over here that I have been testing on every shotgun that I've done, every shotgun video that I've done. I've had one of these. If you watch those videos, they've been on those shotguns, and I've been blasting rounds through them. And they have held up just as well as any of my other high-dollar optics have. And so, if they're going to make that kind of a product and guarantee it, boy, it's hard to say no. You know what I mean?
I've got a sight mark I bought as soon as the red dots came out. It's like, as soon as they invented it, it's like 12 years old. And that thing, I've banged it up. It's in the bag. It's ridden in my truck. It's been in the toolbox, and it still mounts up and, holds zero.
Yeah.
that was the beauty of Nikon too. I mean, Nikon was, something that, the poor guys like me could afford. And you go out and you could, use it for years, beat it to death, and it'd still be, a great piece of glass.
Yep.
And the thing about Nikon, that top number, if you get one that goes out to 36 or 40, it really worked out there versus, you get like a cheap glass and, it says, 7 to 45 or whatever. And really doesn't do crap after, a certain amount.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're the only ones left in the chat.
I guess we are. I guess everybody else pretty much bailed.
I'm like, you guys won't not even be live anymore because there's 6 people in there, and that's us.
I think there's actually 6 people in the YouTube chat.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, we don't count. I don't think we count as.
I'm looking at the YouTube channel. I don't know, but like there's 6 people and nobody's been chatting for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we were this boring.
Well, it's the only gun chat talking about guns, right?
Well, when we stopped talking about politics, they slowly started to taper out, which brings me back to my early statement, which is people are concerned about this.
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I quit watching most of the gun chats, because there's only so much you can listen to. 8 different guys in a panel talk about their brand new 5906 or whatever it is, their brand new P320 or PPQ. Everybody's got the new this. It's like, great, I don't have one. I don't really care. So,
Well, I've started to do weird things on my channel just because people like that. They're more interested in the weird stuff. And to be honest with you, I can get the weird stuff. You know what I mean?
I've done 3
stuff or what?
I've done 3 holster reviews, and I haven't owned a holster other than my Bianchi in 35 years. And by the end of this run, I'm going to have like 6. Like,
right.
Why? Just because I got bored of everything else. It was like, let's do something ridiculous. So I'm doing, budget holsters.
My Safariland holster kind of took off. People are really liking those things.
Yeah, they're good holsters. It gets a lot of hate, but my workhorse is still a Phobos, and I hear so many people complain about a Phobos holster, but it fits my body shape exactly right. They're like, "Well, it has no retention." Well, I don't open carry.
Yeah, but the Phobos has the best pad in the business. So
yeah, it really does. It's comfortable.
If you wear a paddle, that pad is awesome.
Yep. It has. I don't understand why they don't put that same paddle on higher end holsters.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because I would totally buy a higher end holster. This paddle is awesome.
I love the paddle on my Safariland, but it's a pain in the ass to take off though. That's good though.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the ones that I've reviewed lately. The Caldwell, one is Gun and Flower from China, and the other one was a SciTac. Man, those paddles are tight. I mean, you can wear them on sweatpants and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, but your sweatpants are down by your ankles. I got to work on a sweatpant carry.
Carry holsters. I tell you what, if you haven't tried Compact Spartan holsters, they're worth a shot. I like them a lot.
I've got Compact holster mounts that go into my wheelchair, and they work with a lot of wheelchair guys. They're really good.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'll give them some business. That's good stuff. I like to hear it when people work.
Being a fat guy, I like a hybrid holster, so it just fits better. But yeah, the ones I have the same holster for both my Walther and my PPQ, or my VP9 and my PPQ subcompact, and I really like
those. Yeah, those multi-caliber by Comtac are incredible. I mean, I've got one that'll fit all my CZs, and another one will fit all my 10 Faglios.
These are specifically molded to the gun, but that's their Spartan line. But I bought the same line for each gun, is what I meant.
One of my guys carries Springfields and CZs, and he has it's a multi-material. It's a Kydex and leather holster that'll fit either one. I can't remember the company that he told me it was, but I would looked at it. It was a pretty nice holster.
Is it Urban Carry?
I think it's Urban Carry. I think you're right.
Yep, those are some nice holsters. I like them.
Well, these are Comtech, and these are competition holsters, but they hold multiple guns because the way they lock into the trigger guard.
Yep.
But they really, and then I use bicycle clamps to clamp onto my chair that are, Shimano's, and they supply everything and the whole mount and everything. It's pretty incredible.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I need to do a video on it. I haven't done one on that yet.
Yeah, this will sound stupid to a lot of you guys because I don't wear belts a lot, and being a big guy, and I'm not just large. I'm a fat guy, and I'm actually working on a type of belly band holster, except for it has a piece of 9-ounce leather for the gun to actually attach to. Therefore, guys who wear a lot of fat guys wear stretch waisted jeans, and you can't get a tactical belt big enough for guys who have anything over 46-inch waist.
No.
And so they've got to have something, and
Core makes theirs to go up to 52.
Yeah, I wear a real heavy leather belt, but I go through about one a year. So
yeah, see, I'm working on something that a guy can wear, like a paddle holster, kind of like a belly band, but actually have an actual holster rather than stuffing it into a piece of elastic. So.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a legal issue as far as YouTube goes, and what I could do and what I can't do?
We can try to answer.
We can lie to you.
Okay. just lie on the safe side, okay?
Right. That's the plan.
I want to do I've got guys that have questioned me about being able to change slides. Like they want to be able to buy. Like he's got a copy of a CZ, and he wants to know if my SAR K12 Sport slide is interchangeable with the CZ Shadow 2, and if it is, then he can buy the CZ Cadet 22 to fit his clone. So I'm going to start doing some series of slide changes. My question is, I saw somebody doing a slide change, and they were doing all the slide changes off camera, saying YouTube wouldn't allow them to.
Yeah.
It's called assembling a firearm. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll strike you for that.
Yep.
What I would suggest is, if you want to do those kinds of videos, you can do a edited version on YouTube, but put a link in there to like a gun streamer, where you could then, well, here is the unedited version. You can watch me disassemble it, reassemble it, and everything over here on Gunstreamer.
Yeah, Gunstreamer, GunTube, Full 30, any of those.
I'm on GunTube, so could I give a direct link to GunTube from YouTube?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you as long as you have the video.
Yep.
You can just, or you could just go, hey, here is my channel on GunTube.
Yeah, put a link to your channel.
Yeah.
Don't put a direct link to the video because YouTube might spank you for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I need to know.
So I use Gunstreamer a lot. I have a GunTube account also, but I'm getting ready to go in and do the editing. so that like whatever I do over here on YouTube will automatically upload over to Gunstreamer.
How
So-
do you do that?
If you go to Gunstreamer, they actually give you a walkthrough on what you have to do on how to be able to set that up, so that it will automatically. I can do my live stream here, and I don't have to worry about then downloading the video to my computer and then re-uploading it. It'll automatically just filter over there. And
Now, if YouTube were ever to disappear for you, would it remain there, or is that just that? Does that pathway disappear?
no, so once it's like taking. So like if YouTube were to delete my channel,
Mhm.
all my videos that have been transferred over to Gunstreamer will be on Gunstreamer.
Okay.
I put my videos on YouTube and Full30 very intentionally so that there's always a backup in case YouTube ever zaps me. And I'm about to start putting them on Gunstreamer too for the same reason.
I need to start doing that. I only do YouTube so far, and I have a Patreon account set up, but I haven't done anything with it.
Right.
Well, so I hate to cut this conversation like super short, but let's go ahead and start doing some wrap ups, channel plugs. I want to thank Ghost Tactical for jumping on. So if people
Yeah,
aren't
Ghost.
if people aren't subscribed to him, which I'm pretty sure every one of us are, but go give him a check out. New York Outcast, if you're not subscribed to him, go give him a look. He's a really good guy, puts out some solid content. So let's start with Mr. Nighthawk Medic. What do you got going on?
Not much. Got a series. I'm going to start some tactical gear reviews. So I've got a few items that I'll be bringing forward on tactical gear reviews, kind of talk to people about being prepared for whatever comes down their way, and more exciting shotgun videos on the way. Thanks for having me in, G23. I appreciate you. Hey, guys out there, subscribe to everybody here. They're amazing people.
Thank you for jumping on, and it's been very educational and fun as always. Mr. Wheeled and Well Armed, thank you for jumping on.
Well, thank you. Sorry to barge in here, but I enjoyed it. I saw the whole conversation. I'm like, oh man, this is all my friends. I want to get in there. But anyway, I did 3 polymer gun, and anyway, I'm getting more views than I've had, and I don't do polymer guns pretty much. And anyway, I'm going back to my steel frame guns now, and probably won't do any more polymer guns for a long time.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on, and if you're ever in the crowd and you want on, just say something. I will definitely get you a link on here.
Okay, sounds good.
Mr. Poor Conservative.
Well, I just have my channel. Not a whole lot going on. I've been doing some budget polymer holster reviews, and I'm doing a series of them right now. I'm on the 3rd one. And I'll be putting the 4th and 5th one up hopefully here in the next week. I do a lot of cooking, which I know doesn't interest a whole lot of people, but that's on there too. A little bit of stuff from my guitar shop. And then I have on Instagram, I have my 2A Brotherhood page now that is strictly about gun people learning the Constitution. Nothing more, nothing less. Other than that, that's pretty much all I've got going right now. If anybody's still out there, go check out. If you haven't checked out G23's page, check out what that guy's doing. Check out what Kingpin is doing. Kingpin's a great guy. He does everything for everybody and never does anything for himself.
Exactly. So, Mr. Defense Dad, what do you got going on?
Well, no, thanks for having me first. I'm gonna get back going on my budget versus beauty series, it's been kind of a struggle because our pistol range has been under construction lately. So shooting a pistol at 25 yards for the first time doesn't do very good. But yeah, I'm going to be working on that, and we'll do some collaboration videos with another channel pretty soon too.
No.
But yeah, otherwise check everybody's channels out.
Thank you all for jumping on. This has definitely been a very fun live stream, and I am glad that every single person showed up out in the chat and helped us have one hell of a conversation. And
this was fun.
I will definitely see you all next Saturday evening. And stay safe, and remember to keep one in the chamber. If you guys got any closing plugs, grab them.
Have an amazing night, guys.
I'm bald, no plugs.